So, Sneak Disc podcast supporters, listen up. You cop a pair of dope kicks every single week. We're positive you all grabbed the Seattle 10s, which I did, fam. I'm sure you guys even maybe did your, they did the Air Force Ones that at the flea market. I'm sure some of you guys grabbed those. There's a lot of releases that came out this week. So we know you need some new gear. Winter is here. Minimal.la has everything you need to stay fly and keep warm. Minimal.la has all the basics you need at ridiculously affordable prices. And use the code TSD10. You can save an additional 10% on your first order. It's impossible. It's not, and this is factual. It's impossible to not have seen Minimal tagged on your IG feed because sneakerheads and hype beasts are always pairing their pieces with their latest sneaker releases and getting lots of love for them. You go to Minimal's page, you see a lot of people that you follow, just regular cats follow, taking pictures wearing the Minimal brand and their sneakers. And, we talked about this last week. Yes, they sent a few things over to us. We definitely want to be able to, mean what we say when we talk about it. And I appreciate all the people who have sent me screenshots. Yo, got you guys, support it, sit there. I absolutely appreciate that. That makes me very humble. But I also want people to know that they sent me some stuff last week and I bought some stuff myself this previous week. What I'm wearing right now, the camo joints, the camo, I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but the camo joints, this t-shirt I'm wearing, the Minimal. I bought an overpack, I bought some shorts. I bought a few things from them with my own money. They didn't send it to me. That's how much I like the brand. And I'm telling you, the prices are crazy. I know people like these other companies out there, but let me tell you something. Super high quality is not easy to find at good prices. So when you buy some dope sneakers, you want to have the right pants to wear, super dope jackets. Let me tell you something. So, like I said, from their signature denim jeans to their cargos, hoodies, outerwear, and accessories to pull it all together, it's fashion forward, modern basics at a great price. Go to minimal.la/sneak disc to support our show. Minimal, that's MNML.LA/sneak disc to support our show. Minimal is able to provide high quality for a fraction of the price by cutting out the traditional retailer. Which kind of Dion talked about. Hey, you're going straight to the consumer. They don't send it to a shop. They don't send it to any stores. You get it directly from them, cut out that middleman, and get it for a lower price. Check out their new collection that just dropped, and Sneak Disc listeners will receive 10% off using the code TSD10 at checkout. With over 350 products on their site, Minimal.la has something for all of our listeners. Visit minimal/sneak disc and use the code TSD10 at checkout. Items sell out quickly. These are facts. Certain sizes, always gone quick. You're extra small, medium, large, they're gone quick. You got to get them joints ASAP. That's MNML.LA/SNEAKDIS. Code is TSD10. Yo, Sneak This Podcast, George, Greg back in the building. Episode 179, I believe, George. I think that's where we're at.
Mike's not working, but I'm here.
Oh, you here? We got you. We appreciate everybody who listens to us on Apple, on iTunes, Spotify. We appreciate our YouTube viewership. We appreciate everybody who follows us on IG and Twitter. Definitely, doing big things. We appreciate everybody who's messaged us. We appreciate everybody who's using our promo code for some of our sponsors. That's been a big help. We've actually reached a really good milestone personally for ourselves on the podcast. Our downloads are fairly incredible right now. We're doing really good. And, I definitely want to say thank you to all the listeners and everybody who supports us every single week. Not to be that guy, but, it's not easy coming to do a show as long as we have and doing 179 episodes. It ain't easy, especially talking about sneakers every single week. So we definitely appreciate everybody who stuck with us, everybody who's been with us since day one. And like I said, hopefully big more things to come. Looking forward to 4 years next year. So I was just telling George the other day, me and George approved our first hat, our first item of merchandise, I guess you want to believe. A lot of listeners have been asking for it. So we finally got some done. I believe it's of high quality. I've always said that I didn't want to put anything out to anybody that I wasn't comfortable with wearing, just to make a little dollar. And anything that's spent on anything that we create, it goes straight into the podcast. The podcast comes number one. And, that's always a priority for myself. But today we got something special for you guys. We actually have something lined up. We have Dion Walcott on the line with us. He is VP of Brand Partnership with Yellowbrick.co. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to share the message about sneaker school and just the different ways that people could get into the sneaker industry. And you guys are giving a great example of that. And super excited to get into this conversation.
Oh, you already know. So one thing that we definitely do every single week is we want to make sure that people get a good idea and a clear understanding of who we're talking to. We've talked to a lot of people on our podcast and people that people have never heard of, people aren't familiar with. So, if you don't mind giving a little background of what you've done. I know you work with a lot of big companies and you focused on bringing the culture into the sneaker community and other brands and bringing in, that influx of audience. So if you can give a little background, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I've been working inside of the sneaker industry in a couple different ones. I shouldn't even say a couple, various ways. The way I got in was super untraditional. I'm actually a social worker by trade, and I did social work for about 10 years. And the way I really used to connect with a lot of young people was I used to wear different sneakers all the time. And I used to use it as a tool, as an engagement tool to connect with people so they could trust me. And after doing that for a long period of time, I took a group of students back to school sneaker shopping. And what was really cool about it, I'm originally from Toronto. They're from a priority neighborhood, or a troubled neighborhood is what they call it in the U.S. And the only reason that they trusted me enough to go back across the border to go sneaker school shopping was because of the sneakers that I wore and the rapport that we built over time. And that was the first time I really understood how powerful sneakers were outside of just being a consumer good, that it actually could drive people to do more than they wanted to. That was I want to say 12 years ago now. And then what happened after that is I started to develop sneaker mentorship programs in inner city schools in Toronto. And I'd bring my collection of sneakers together, and they give me all the so-called troublemakers. And I teach them life skills behind sneaker talk. So stuff like, you really like those J's, how do you plan on affording Jordans for the rest of your life? And then we eventually get further and further away of talking about sneakers and start talking about real life stuff. I did that for a long period of time, and then I got an opportunity to put on the first ever sneaker exhibition in North America with a museum in Toronto called the Bata Shoe Museum. That was the first time I was opened up to partnerships and programmings, working inside of an institution. And then it really hit me where it was partnerships and programming is really just understanding the makeup of how young people think and how to get them engaged. And then I got really into the business side of what are we marketing to the consumers and how are we marketing it. So I left the social work side of it alone and started focusing more on how could I develop cool partnerships, not for people to buy stuff, but for people to understand how to get in the industry more. So after I finished working with the Bata Shoe Museum, then I started doing freelances with all the different brands and trying to lend my experience of how to engage with a new audience a number of different ways. And then I landed at Yellowbrick, where it was kind of a mashup of everything I've learned. They gave me the opportunity to A, be close to the sneaker culture, but B, teach people different ways of just being a collector and a consumer and how do you get into the industry. So we started something called the Sneaker School. I think that's what we're trying to talk about tonight.
It's funny, the 2 points that you just made right now just kind of hit personally with me. It's funny that you say how you used to wear a different pair of sneakers to kind of get in good with, the youth. And it's funny with, what I do professionally outside of the podcast. It's not a popular position, but when I go talk to high schools and schools, I always tell them
Right.
I want to wear my Jordans, I want to wear my hoodie, I want to wear my jean jacket, I want to look because they can relate to that. They can see that this profession isn't just suit and tie and the usual looking face that you always see in this type of position. You saying that and also saying how you would get into the discussion with a student on how will you be able to pay for Jordans for the rest of your life? You like Jordans now. Let's talk about how you pay for it. I remember being in college and having to come to that decision over 500 pairs of sneakers. And I remember selling every single pair. And I said to myself, and I remember I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to sell all these right now to take care of something important because if I take care of business and get a job and a career, I know I'm going to always love sneakers. I will be able to buy myself sneakers for the rest of my life. And that's the main reason why I did it.
Absolutely.
Now, when I sold all the
Absolutely.
sneakers, I sold all the sneakers and went to Vegas and did dumb college kid stuff. But I had the right intentions, from that point. So, so you call yourself you consider yourself a sneaker aficionado, connoisseur?
I guess you could call it a connoisseur.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like putting sneaker and then a title behind it or in front of it always gets you in trouble. So I really just love the sneaker game and the industry and all the things that it does for people, whether it's producing a site or producing a set or designing the sneakers. I just love seeing how creative and how much it's growing. So I'm neither left or right of it. I just love the sneaker game altogether.
Right. And so, you and, we've been having, email conversations, obviously with Andrew, who is he's a part of Yellow Brick as well, correct?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Andrew is our brains in the sky that kind of helps us figure out finding people like yourself to share the message.
So he had contacted me a long, long time ago, and then we didn't kind of talk for a period of time. Everyone gets busy like usual. But, one thing I thought was awesome was how he mentioned in our conversation that he would love to offer a scholarship to our listeners.
Right.
So we can go ahead. So what would that entail, and how can our, we want to make sure we want to be able to put that out there to our audience?
Yeah, no, I mean, check out our site, sneakerschool.com. There's all kinds of information on there. I mean, Andrew and myself will probably put something together that's dedicated just for you guys.
Sounds
but
good.
If they wanted to just find out general information, sneakerschool.com is where they could drop it. And we'll put something together for your guys' show specifically. But sneakerschool.com.
So I want the audience to listen to that. We're going to make sure that we promote a scholarship to be a part of this. And one thing I'm excited about this conversation is that we see Sneaker School on our timeline on Instagram all the time. And I remember the very first time we saw it. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. One thing that me and George are not the norm with our podcast. We say and express exactly how we feel on everything. I don't like to consider us I consider us like sneaker analysts, like when it comes to social media, when it comes to sneakers, how they look, when it comes to just, Nike, companies, Adidas, a lot of things that happen in the culture, social media, so forth. So I'm going to tell you this, the very first time I saw Sneaker School on my timeline, I said to myself, what in the world is this? Okay. And I said this because, as you know, you being a part of the culture for so long and you being in business as long as you have, there's a lot of people that try to enter the culture in a different way and try to make money in the culture, whether they want to be a reseller now, but they know nothing about sneakers, whether they want to start selling Supreme and clothing and want to enter in a way. And I said, is this something that's a money grab? Because what are you going to get out of this? I remember a lot of our listeners tagged us on it. Yo, look at this. What is this? What is this? Now, I'm sure we interviewed Jay Tips last week, and he gave us some really good insight on the school. So talk to us about the school.
And I appreciate you being so transparent, and I'll also be transparent. I also didn't just jump into Yellow Brick or Sneaker School being like, oh my God, this shit is crazy, I need to jump on it.
Right.
I started off as a consultant, and I was similar to you. I used to see the ads on Instagram, and I was like, Sneaker School, who put this shit together? Complex, FITI, sure, but I don't really see how it benefits people. Then I actually traveled to one of their boot camps, and I seen how engaged the students were. that took the class online, and I was like, oh wow, like they have real students who are in here over 4 days trying to get it in and learn as much as they can. And that's when the light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, like they really have something here, because a lot of the people that were in those classes were just like normal people who just wanted to figure out, like, outside of being a consumer, could I become a designer? Could I work in the marketing field? Like, how can I get into the game in a different way? Then that's when I got really passionate about it, and I was like, if there's such a large amount of people who are interested to get into the sneaker industry, what else could we do here? How else could we expand it? And even Jay Tips, like when we first met, I think we met at Sneaker Games, and he was just like, man, what is the sneaker school? We gave him a scholarship, and he knocked it out like in record time. And he was like, yo, that course was pretty legit. Like I came out learning more than I did going in. So, I mean, to be totally honest, when you see it on Instagram, you're kind of like, man, this is just another ad or, paid advertising. But when you take the time and you take the course, you learn a lot about like the different ways on how to get into the sneaker industry is really untraditional. And you're going to pick up like the lingo, and it'll help you. If you're thinking about getting into the sneaker industry, it's a perfect starter kit for you. That's the way that I usually describe it.
So how does the process begin, like getting into it? Like what is something that like you can actually gain and take from this and move forward? Like I know, so this is how I'll put it this way. So I have a friend out here, actually George and I have a mutual friend out here that we've known for a long time. His name is Don Fisher. And after he listened to our J Tips interview, he was like, yo, it's crazy you guys talked about sneaker school. I'm currently enrolled in it. And
Okay.
and he was like, man, you know what is crazy? Like I'm learning so much from it. And coming from the culture that we do, when it comes to sneaker collectors and people, we are probably some of the most complaining people, consumer of all time. We can never be happy.
Right.
Whether the leather is good, there's not enough quantity, how they were released, who makes it, quality control. It doesn't matter what it is. Do you feel that sneaker collectors, sneakerheads, just lack the knowledge and understanding of how the process works to get the sneaker from here to us?
I wouldn't say they lack the knowledge. I just think that it's not shared enough. Like the forefront of what we normally see is the finished product. So like that's why we have an opinion. Like a lot of times, just in general, like people judge the finished product until they learn the whole process. And then when you learn the process, now all of a sudden you have more of appreciation for like the product that may be put out. I feel like that's what the class does. It really gives you a deeper dive, not only on the sneaker itself, but like the brains behind what went into that marketing campaign. Why someone picked this material versus that material. What an actual athlete is looking for. Like, and those are just some simple things. Like even how would you put together a sneaker exhibition for a museum? Like the history, how do you tell stories? Because sneakers to me is really storytelling at its highest and cool form. But how do you transform a storytelling element of like a sneaker into a museum and tell from 1919 to like what it is today? So I think it gives you a really deeper dive into like everything you may think you know and the things you like. You'll learn way more of how it started from its infancy to get where it is now.
One thing that when I talked to J Tips and then I went through and kind of did my own research about it, and I seen it's funny, I've seen the FIT. I always saw the FIT in the complex, but it never dawned on me that was Fashion Institute of Technology. I thought it was FIT. I just didn't even pay much attention to that. And a lot of people may not know, especially sneaker, heads, they don't know how major FIT is. FIT is a major fashion, institution.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so what part do they play in complex as well in, moving this moving this course forward and stuff?
I mean, it's really blended. So I like to call it popular education in that one side of it is very academic. Shout out to Sarah Mullins, who's probably one of the best professors you could ever have. And then on the other side, you have industry. So like when you go to traditional school, a lot of it is just you're learning from like an academic institution, and you're reading about like what would happen in industry. Where our courses are super unique is where you have an academic professor, or you have a series of them that give you their insight like you're actually going to FIT. But then the flip side, you have people from Complex, or you have real sneaker like OGs like a Clark Kent giving you their insight, and giving you a balanced approach of like how you could go about getting to the industry on either side of the coin. And that's what I think is really, really cool, because even for myself, like as much as I knew, when Sarah comes in and talks to me, I feel like I'm learning so much so quickly, just because she's giving you like the top of the top of academic terms and what schools are doing to push the needle. And then you'll talk to someone like a Joe LaPuma, and he'll tell you what's going on in the industry and what they're doing to push the needle. So as a student, you're kind of caught in between, and you get both best of the both worlds. So I think that's what's really unique about the course.
How did you decide on who was going to be a professor?
We have we have people who design the course, and a lot of the times it's the school that decides that. It's not really us. Sarah Mullins usually takes the lead just because she's been teaching sneakers and how to build them for a long period of time, and then she'll rope in all the other professors who align with like sneakers and footwear, more than likely bigger into footwear than just sneakers itself, just because sneakers is kind of a branch from the footwear tree.
So when it comes, because when I went to the site and I did see the amount of, I don't know, of course, I guess course teachers, I guess you want to call them that. I don't want to say professors.
Let's call them contributors. Call them contributors, because I think like people are contributing to what the course could feel like. I'm not sure Clark Kent would want to be called a professor. Let's call him. Actually, he may want to be called a professor. Matter of fact.
What's funny is that like I seen him discussing, like I saw like a little video of him talking about it, and I would be very interested in sitting or hearing a Clark Kent led discussion on sneakers, because he's a, and this is nothing that, like, he is definitely, when it comes to sneakers, a legend. When it comes into sneakers, a legend as a DJ and a staple in New York City, and one of the most popular DJs, and worked hard. Now, when we interviewed Clark Kent, I don't want to say he didn't like us, but he's very passionate about his discussion and his own personal understanding of sneakers. So it was something that, and we took it for what it was. Like we enjoy talking to different people from all over the world. So, it was kind of a different understanding of it. But, so is it like video based, like where you just kind of do it at your own pace online, or?
Yeah, so it's video based. The majority of our stuff, well, all of our stuff really is online, where people take the course at their own leisure. And then what we really work hard, or what we're working hard to do more these days, is give people some more offline experiences so they can apply what they learned. But the majority of the class is online, and it does super well because people can take it at their own pace. And then sometimes we have, special segments where like we'll bring in somebody who will speak to just a deeper dive. So like someone who does customization and speak about that. That's a different module than the course offers.
Okay, so then going into that, kind of leading off with that, and I want to get back to sneaker school. Can you talk to me about Marc a little bit?
Oh, for sure. Marc.
Because you brought up customizations and all that.
The art on sneaker side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Marc was a passion project that started for me when I worked with the Baddest Shoe Museum, and the idea behind it was like, how do you get a whole bunch of diverse people in a room, some that may like sneakers, some that may like art. And the idea that we came up with is if we take an all-white pair of sneakers, give people Sharpies, and only give them a limited amount of time to come up with a design, that was a cool way to merge cultures together. And I've been doing that for the last 5 years. It's been really cool. It's a cool activation. I call it the intersection of culture event, where you intersect sneakers, the sneaker culture and the art culture, and have fun in between. We do that like with high schools, and then we also do it as like a free social event. But yeah, Marc has been my baby outside of me doing all the work with Yellow Brick and the sneaker school. I've been doing Marc for a while.
So you had, going back, you had said you threw like the first sneaker expo in the States. And, how difficult is that? Something that you could kind of learn going to sneaker school as well? Like, we all have this, like, we're based in Arizona. Arizona does not have a really robust culture, which I want to kind of touch on with sneaker school as well. So it's like we've had like our own consignment shops and things like that, and some very motivated people that have run some of the shops out here that make sure they yearly have events out here that we that we're a part of, and to bring something to Arizona, whether it's small or on a large scale. SneakerCon has been to Arizona, I think, once, from what I can remember.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's obviously the biggest one. However anybody feels about it or not, it's clearly the biggest one. Dunk Exchange, way back in the day, used to come quite often.
Right.
How difficult of a process is that, getting something like that off the ground? Like, I see you guys have discussions at sneaker events, about sneaker talk and things. I've seen you on stage a few times. How difficult of a process is that?
I mean, to answer the question two ways, like, to put on a sneaker exhibition is a lot of work, because you got to do the history and the groundwork of each individual artifact that you're going to put on display, and why Dion's shoe beats Rob's shoe, and like how rich is that story. There's a lot more that goes into it than just putting a sneaker up in a museum and telling a story. It really is months and months of work. But on the flip side, doing like a sneaker con type of show, it's really just like putting on a normal trade show, and it is a lot of a heavy lift, but it's more the first one that's the hardest one. After that, it's more rinse and repeat, and it's the hardest part about putting on those type of shows is like getting the vendors, and then just figuring out how to keep the vendors all happy. Just because as much as you see SneakerCon having, there's a talk and there's basketball courts, the core of what they're doing is really like giving people an outlet to showcase their shit.
Right.
And if Dion has the same shit as Bob, how am I keeping you guys happy, not only just for this show, but continuously over and over and over? So the work is really just like anything that is a large box, is managing the people. I think once you can figure out how to manage the people and keep it rinsing, repeating, that type of show can be successful. SneakerCon has done it to a level now where they're just like killing the game in a good way,
right.
But also like they've also really targeted that younger demographic that's like the high school student, teaching them almost a little bit about entrepreneurship, because they're walking around with shoes and, you're going to have to negotiate how to sell your shit. But when I first went to SneakerCon a while ago, when it was in Soho in New York at the bottom of a church, it was completely a different demo. It was more like the OG guys showing you rare collections and trying to trade up stuff that you couldn't see. So, I mean, I kind of give SneakerCon its props in that they figured out how to segment one audience and just focus on that and make it a machine. So, I mean, shout out to SneakerCon for doing that.
Yeah, and then kind of going back to what I was saying, like with us being in a smaller market, one thing that George and I have always, and I don't want to say complained, but, it's kind of discouraging when, we have the amount of work that it does take to get into, to buy a sneaker. We have to enter a lot of online raffles, and we got to do a lot of stuff, even overseas. So locally, we don't get a lot of the things that other places get. Chicago, LA, New York, those are always the big hubs that house everything. California. So how could sneaker school benefit somebody that comes from that smaller market, that Arizona, that Oklahoma, Nebraska, that Midwest, smaller market that doesn't get to have the luxury of a complex right down the street, or
No, I think that you just answered it. Like, you don't have the luxury of the complex down the street. So what you have is you have a course that gives you access to people that work at complex, or talent that have done work with complex, and hearing their insights that are super rich that can help point you in the right direction, versus like you may want to come all the way to New York just to have a meeting with someone from Complex. You could easily take the course and get as much as you need to know and have a better foundation of like, what's the best way for me to get into the industry? The biggest thing that I see when people take the course is like, they arrive at our course having one idea, and then when they finish it, they have a way clearer idea, but it's not the same one that they started with. So I think that our course really gives you a really good sense of like, man, I really want to become a designer because that's what society has conditioned me to think is the only way to get in. Then when I take the course, my mind is open so much wider to like the different things you can get into and make a career out of it. And you may think that you're a designer, but you may be a better marketer than a designer. And that's why I think the course is really unique for anyone who lives in a smaller market. You can take this course at your own leisure, pay attention to the modules and the exercises. And the exercises are really what really is universal. So it doesn't matter what city you're in, because if you're dope at that exercise, you're going to be dope whether you're in wherever you are or you're in New York City. So the exercises and the materials what really makes the course dope.
So I kind of want to get into like the VP of brand partnership side of Dion real quick. So we had recently seen that like Nike, and this is, I don't know if this is rumored or this is factual, but like they're going to start, limiting, stock or stop supplying stock to a lot of smaller shops, across the country. How much longer do you think the physical retail shop have?
Not very long. Like, I mean, I think it was yesterday that you seen Marc step down.
Right.
And then they hired a CEO from eBay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's showing you, like, you have a sneaker guy who's been working with the best sneaker probably brand in the world, who steps down and they hire someone who knows e-commerce. So, like, if that's not an indication of where sneaker retail is going, I don't know what is. So I think bricks and mortar will survive, but not as a traditional retail store. You now have to be able to provide experiences for consumers to want to stay in your store and get multiple things out of it than just buying goods and services.
Is the sneaker culture flooded with too many people that are like-minded?
Oh, did I lose you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, no,
again?
I had asked, do you think that the sneaker culture is too flooded with like-minded people?
I wouldn't say like-minded people. I think that the sneaker culture is right now, I feel like it's really built on hype. Like people are buying stuff and they don't even know the origins of it. It's just hype. But I think right now if I've never seen it before, there's way more opportunities for people to get into the sneaker industry and do cool stuff if they can think outside of the box. Like a good friend of mine, Dwayne Edwards, who runs Pencil, we had a conversation about just people always wanting to become designers and wanting to design an actual sneaker. And he was saying to me, like, right now, if people wanted to become a designer, there's more ways to become a designer than just designing the sneaker. You could become a 3D designer. And he labeled it as like being Dennis Rodman on a basketball team. He was like, no one wants to be a Dennis Rodman anymore. Everyone wants to score the ball. Where a 3D designer, you could literally sign your own check and have a job for the rest of your life. But no one wants to do that job because they all want to be in the hype. So to that point, I was kind of like, that's interesting because, like, if you really pay attention to what he's saying is, like, if you're looking for jobs in the shadows, you can really make a career in the sneaker industry. But if everyone's following the hype, of course it's going to be saturated and we're going to look at it like everyone's thinking the same way.
How do you view, I mean, I feel like in your line of work, hype is what's needed. Like, I feel like, so when it comes to hype and it comes to sneaker school, is sneaker school as far as you can know, or I don't know if Andrew would know, whatever the case may be, is it being populated with younger individuals into the culture, or is there a lot of older sneakerheads that are getting into it as well?
It's funny. It's like there's two. At least from my opinion, there's two demos that we see a lot. We see, I wouldn't say the super young, but someone who's finished high school, hasn't really went on to like college or university. It's trying to figure out, they know that they love sneakers, but they don't really know how to get in the industry. They're not a fan of traditional education. So they're like, let me mess around and take this course. And those people do super well because they have a more mature brain, even though they haven't went the traditional route. They know how to be responsible and teach themselves how to learn something. The second demo that I always think is super interesting is the people who have worked for a job for a long period of time. Like say you work from 25 to you're 32, and you worked at Verizon, but you always love sneakers. We see those people take our course a lot, and they're just trying to figure out like, how do I take my passion and make it into a career? And I think eventually like that segment of people is going to surpass our primary audience, which was the one I described. I just find like there's such a shift happening where people are no longer satisfied with just working with a job to pay the bills, and they want something that makes them happy, that they're passionate about. So those are the two demos that right now are really taking our course and having a good time doing it.
How long has Sneaker School actually been going on?
We're going on to 4 years.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, 4 years. I mean, to be totally transparent with you, at the first little bit, we're still trying to figure out, what's the best way to market it, what's the best way to structure the courses. But now I feel like we've really figured it out, where those holes have been plugged.
I think one thing that because we've talked about it all the time, we have, SneakerCon, like you said, has like really catered to the younger group, which is perfectly fine because that's the demographic that seems to be really out there still pushing it as much as they possibly can. A lot of us older sneaker heads are doing a lot of complaining and or whatever, and we're doing our best to like keep up. And me and George talk about all the time, we don't even want to get off the couch to go buy sneakers. We will have every app open, but sometimes we'll win a sneaker on an app, and if we got to get in the car to go get it, we're angry. So but it's funny you talk about the ways to market Sneaker School. One of my complaints about SneakerCon was the fact that I felt like it got away from sneakers. It started becoming like, very YouTube entertainment type thing. And I felt like the knowledge and the lack of information was getting lost about these sneakers. Now, look, I'm completely aware that a Scottie Pippen sneaker is not going to be as popular as a Fear of God sneaker right now. Completely understood. Right. I understood it, but it's important to understand, like with what Jerry did with the Fear of God. He modeled one of the models after the Air Raid. I don't think a lot of sneakerheads even know the Air Raid is an original shoe. Exactly. They look at the Fear of God as something new. I think it'd be awesome if Sneaker School had a booth and a table set up for people to enroll, just like colleges, you come and get that college information, enroll. Like there's a lot of people who are interested in the vlogs and doing YouTube, and that I'm not sure if that's a course or not, but it's so big right now that it's something that people can definitely benefit from.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's funny you say that because I was at SneakerCon in Toronto, and that was the first time I attended a SneakerCon in over 5 years probably. And I definitely seen like there's a major gap. What I think with SneakerCon specifically, they figured out how to build a machine. So like they're not going to break that. Like they got the young people. It was amazing to see parents in there giving their kids money. Like that shit blew my mind. But I also think there's a cool opportunity, like you said, for SneakerCon to build something for a different audience that could still be branded SneakerCon. That's for more a mature sneaker buyer, if you want to call it that.
Right.
Where there could be an education piece. There could be OG collectors. There could be, um, showcasing stuff that like these young guys would never even understand, like the air raids. But I think that's something that it could be sneaker school in collaboration with. But I definitely think there's an opportunity to like the same model as a sneaker con, but like the mature version where like I come through and I don't feel like I'm going to see a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old putting shoes above his head. It's more of a learning experience, you know? And nothing's wrong
Right.
with the 12 to 13-year-old. That
Oh no.
It's just not the space for me
Oh no.
anymore.
It's not, and that's why, like with our show, we try to make sure, like you talk about, like putting yourself in these situations to learn and take care of yourself when you want to enter the sneaker community in a certain way. Our podcast, like I said, 179 episodes, we do everything 100% ourselves. The cameras, the editing, the graphics on the
Right.
screen, we do all that. Control our social media, we do all that on our own. And I remember when we first came up with the idea of it, I honestly thought I came up with an original idea. I had no idea that there were others prior to me. I listen to podcasts all the time, and it never dawned on me to like, let me search sneaker podcasts. And there's a couple out there, and I had checked them out, and I just couldn't believe a lot of the opportunities they were missing, you know, out
Yeah,
on,
no, for sure.
which
for sure.
we
Another
capital.
thing, even go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, which we capitalized on. We, you know, there's things that we talk about that no other sneaker podcast are currently talking about, haven't talked about, and we also do video every week, you know, and video is a hard part because we
Right.
are dealing with a younger community. But in order for us to educate about like a classic sneaker, if I bring up a Deion Sanders sneaker, if I say, yo, a Diamond Turf is one of my favorite sneakers of all time that I bought in fourth, when I say that, and I say that I bought that in fourth grade, they want to see a picture of it. They're not going to know what that is listening to me
Right.
strictly on audio. They might, you know, the ones that are really interested, they'll go ahead and Google it and find out and be like, yo, that's dope. But it's also good to like show what they're missing. You can look at a Diamond Turf, you can look at a Scottie Pippen, you can look at so many sneakers and see the influence that it has today. And from what I learned from Jay Tips and what I'm hearing from you and your conversations from Andrew, I do think sneaker school is something that a lot of people could benefit from, especially the younger generation. You know, there's a lot of older sneakerheads out here that think they know a lot as well, and they don't. Hearing J Tips discuss like the distribution and what goes into it and the decisions that are being made as far as like, should we retro this? Will they buy this? Like, you know, things like that. That's important.
And I think that's what is so cool about the course. Like, it gives you a deeper appreciation for like certain sneakers that you may or may not like. Like I always say, it's about a story or it's about a moment when it comes to a pair of sneakers. And when you understand the moment of a pair of sneakers and what actually went into designing that before it got to the moment, then all of a sudden the ugly pair of sneakers becomes really, really cool. Because like you did the homework to understand how it got there. I think that's the knowledge that you need to know to really appreciate what the sneaker game's about. And nothing's wrong with the hype because it helps to push the culture forward. But when you start talking to like the older guys who've really been in it for a long period of time, they're going to tell you rich stories, or they're going to share moments that, I remember when I wore that sneaker and I took my girl on my first date, or I did this, or Bo Jackson played both two sports. I remember that first ad, Bo knows, like,
Right.
but people don't do that homework anymore, right? They just see the hype, and as soon as it goes up, it's gone in within 48 hours. So
And
that's what sneaker, like even to J Tip's point, like learning about distribution and like if you come up, what's a really good idea versus like just an idea because you thought it was cool, and why it got pushed to market, and like all the thinking that goes behind making something a success.
And you know, I love telling those stories. Like the Reebok questions just re-released this week, and they kind of like put a little twist on it, like a crossover, a red one and a blue one. And me being such a Reebok aficionado, like I wasn't a fan of that. I like the traditional way to it, but they have to figure out some type of way to appeal to another crowd. But you talk about those stories.
Absolutely.
I love telling stories when it comes to sneakers. I have a million of them, but it's funny because I was telling a friend the other day, I was saying, you know what's crazy is that like I looked at the Reebok question as one of those sneakers that I always thought when I was younger looked so good on girls. And I remember a girl that I had a crush on. Her name was Chanel. I won't say her last name, Chanel. This was back in the day, and she ran track, and we all used. I mean, we're young boys, you know. She had really nice legs, you know. We're young, but I remember she had the Reebok Questions on, and she came walking. Man, we thought those were the greatest things we had ever seen. We didn't even know they were out yet. We knew about them. We had only seen Iverson wearing them. A lot of people don't realize that, like, they're so caught up in the now that they forget that the internet didn't once exist. I talk about this with my co-host George all the time. The way you knew a new sneaker was coming or whatever, you watched the NBA, you watched the actual basketball game. You said, yo, what is Jordan wearing? Yo, what is Sean Kemp rocking right now? Oh, I need those. There was no release days. There was no apps. There was no word of mouth. Like, the word of mouth was, yo, I went to the mall.
I mean, it's funny because I remember the days, like, where it was, like, before the plug, or like you may know someone because you buy sneakers regularly,
right?
And someone at the cash register would hit you, like, and that's before cell phones. Like, they would on your pager and be like, "Yo, you should get to the store because, like, we just got a new shipment," and, like, that was the only way you would know, like, there's a new release. Like,
right.
There was no, like, a release date's coming, like, December 30th. Like, none of that shit actually existed. It was kind of like, let me go see what's in the sneaker store today. Oh, shit, these are here. Let me grab them.
No, 100% facts.
That was that.
I was telling some listeners, I said, I remember when the sneaker shops, Foot Locker, Champs, all those places, it didn't say what the sneaker they was going to get. It would just say shipment will be here from Nike on this date. You didn't know what it was. So, like, you would either remember to come back, and I remember that's how I got Jordan 5s. I remember when Jordan 5s dropped, the guy said, you know what, it says Nike on it, but I'm not sure what it is. But, you know, they come out. I remember what month it was or what it was. And I remember my friends, our school was really close to the mall, and we were like, let's just walk over there and see. And we watched them take them out of the boxes, like the actual delivery boxes. And it was one of the best feelings ever for us. And, you know, if sneaker school is something that could restore that feeling or provide that feeling to a younger generation that's not going to get that benefit. The younger generation only knows standing in line, apps, bots,
for sure.
And you know, back in our day, it was actual sometimes lost your life for a sneaker. They might know a little bit of violence and pushing and shoving and cutting in lines, but it's good to know that. It's good to know that.
Well, it's funny. Like, I'm listening to you speak, and you're making me, like, getting nostalgic. I remember even out, like, in Toronto, we used to have, like, layaway plans where, like, you could go to, like, your local boutique shop and be like, yo, if I put 100 on these and come pick them up on Saturday, could you hold them for me?
Facts.
And dude would be like, yeah, I'll do that for you. Like, they don't know about that no more.
Nah, they don't. And that was the good old days when shops used to actually care about the consumer.
Technical difficulties.
When shops would actually remember you and see you and have you come in. And, you know, I would come up to the homie and I'd say, yo, man, come on, let me give you 50. And sometimes they would let you make payments on it. I remember.
You try to do that with me. You try to pay me for a drill like that. Pause.
Look, you the homie, though. You know I'm good for it. I see you every Wednesday. So you know I could pay you installments. But it was always good to know that, like, look, I'll give you 50 right now. And they will hold them for you for like 2-3 weeks. I remember Sheik used to do that. They maybe not were supposed to, but, like, it was the homie. So you talk about Toronto and Canada a lot. How is sneakers out there? We have a lot of listeners in the Canada area and some of the homies we talk to on a regular basis. How is it out there? Is it really, really popular out there, or is it something that's still growing?
You know, it's like, I mean, I've been going back and forth to the U.S. probably over the last 3-4 years, way more than I have before. The culture is super strong in Canada. It's just that the U.S. has way more numbers. Would I say that the love in Toronto or in Canada is super strong? For sure. But I think when you just break it down to, like, the pure numbers, we just can't compete. So, like, when you look at, should we do a special release or should we do some type of marketing campaign for Canada, I always use this stat where it's like California is the size of Canada. So, like, think about that from, like, a marketing perspective. Is like, should we pay that much attention to Canada when a whole country is the size of one of our states? So that's why I feel like they don't pay that much attention to it. But when you come to Toronto, because I guess I could be biased if that's where I'm from, you'll see some people who could compete. Like, they know they live it every single day. Like, if they cross the border, they'll be celebrated. But as a country as a whole, the numbers are just so much smaller than like anything that we can compete with inside of the U.S.
What would you tell to somebody who's really skeptical of sneaker school?
Apply for a scholarship, ask for a test run. If you're skeptical of it, I actually understand that, because it's like, it's a lot, man. Like to think like, could I really learn something about sneakers in a formal way? I would say reach out to like our team, ask as many questions as possible, like before you make the decision. One of the things I always pride myself on is tell people, like, ask for one of the modules. And if you take one of the modules and you think it's not for you, then good, then that's fair. But like, I guarantee you take one of the modules, you're going to be like, yo, I want to take 3 or 4. I want to finish the class. And that's the tester. It's just like right now we also have a travel and tourism class. So I'm taking the travel and tourism class as a user. And I was like, man, let me see what this travel and tourism's about. And I was hooked.
Right.
So my biggest thing is like, ask for a module. Like, I don't know if you guys drink beer, but if you're a beer drinker, you ask for a sample.
We drink it.
Ask for a sample. Right? I drink it. Right?
Right.
Ask for a sample of it. That's the best thing you could do. And if you don't like the sample, then it ain't for you, and that's okay. But like, the majority of people that take a sample are like, yo, I want to take the whole course.
Is there any company? Well, I won't ask you that. I know this is something that I kind of like. Is there any companies that listen, that you might know, that really take in consideration what the consumer has to say? I know Sneaker School is gives a lot of insight on every aspect of it, but when it comes to just like something as simple as like customer service, I saw that's one of your contributors, I think own Rhyme Sneaker Shop, I believe.
Yeah, Rhyme. They're getting ready to close down Rhyme.
I know.
New York, right?
I saw that on IG, and it says they were getting ready to close down. And I saw that the owner, looks like a lovely lady. She was talking about how the culture changed and things have changed, and she's gonna close. And I don't know if that is just a casualty of the internet and stuff, or.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it's online. It's a perfume of online and what's happening in the industry, right? Like, that's a boutique shop. That's like, that's a hood boutique shop that people really love, but like, you could get a lot of stuff online now, so it's a little bit different for her and how she's going to grow her business,
Yeah.
And a lot of the brands dictate that stuff too, but I mean, we won't get too heavy into that, but
right.
Yeah, like, it's definitely, the online business is going to eventually push you out if you're not killing it online.
I know, and we talked about this like way earlier episodes that we had when we first started the podcast, and we would see a lot of these like, where shops and consignment shops and a lot of things are like starting and popping up to where they've become so popular socially on social media and amongst like, I guess, quote unquote hype. We've seen them become so popular to where they've become tourist attractions. Like, when you come visit New York, you want to go to Flight Club, you want to go to Kith, you want to go to Stadium Goods. You got these places, and I always said that I didn't like that because I worried about the mom and pop shops, because the mom and pop shop could be selling the exact same sneaker as a Kith. And shout out to Kith. We love Kith. We buy their clothes all the time, and anything we can get from them when it's not too difficult. But it's something different about walking in the Kith and buying your Air Force One and get the Kith bag and going to the store and take pictures versus buying the exact same Air Force One from, mom and pop who's been there for 15 years and it's just a regular old shop with Air Force Ones on the wall.
I mean, I think the Kith, just retail in general, not even just, Kith is amazing. Supreme, all these stores are amazing. It's just, they're now focused on retail as an experience more so than just retail. The boutique stores, those are stores that you would just go in to shop and chop it up with the owner and kind of see what's going on in the industry, what's going on in your neighborhood. But like, you're not going to get a crazy experience, like taking pictures, and you may run into this person, that person. So I think the industry has shifted in a way where, like, if you're going to do retail, it has to be multi-purpose. It can't no longer be just a retail shop. Like I've seen stores like, it's one half of it is like a sneaker store and the other half is an ice cream store. Like, it's like you just have to have more than one trick in order to survive in retail right now.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember, every time me and my friends went out of town, we'd go somewhere. One of the things was we would go to the mall and go to Foot Locker and Champs and all these stores that we had in our own city, but it was still like, yo, we got to get to the mall, see what they got sneaker wise, even though odds are they had the exact same thing. I feel like that is lost. Like, I feel like that's, that experience of like even just being able to, I mean, it's essentially just loitering. Like, we would go loiter at places forever, might not buy nothing, but we would loiter just to get that feeling, that understanding. And that was like that sneaker store, that was our home, that was ours, and we would go
I mean, there's definitely ownership to it, and I get it. Like, I think that has changed too, right? Like, it was like that was the hangout spot, that was where you chop it up, that's where you meet the homies and you talk about other things outside of sneakers, but the sneaker was the magnet that brought everybody together, Since we're talking about retail, one thing that I always like to highlight, I was talking to Trent from Exclusivity in Ontario in Canada, and he taught me something, and he was like, a lot of people who want to open boutiques now, not only do you have to have a strong online business, but one thing that he exposed was like, you want to get a boutique store so you can get all the rare shit, but not understanding to get all the rare shit, you also have to carry some of the garbage shit. And that blew my mind because I was like, I never realized that how hard of a balance that really was.
Right.
You almost have to move the basic stuff in order to get the top tier accounts. And he really went in on that, where it was like, people don't understand. Like, you think I get this sexy sneaker just because I'm moving volume, but it's not because I'm moving volume on this sneaker. It's because I can move volume around the sneakers that no one really want to buy. And I thought that was really interesting because, like, I think a lot of people who go into opening a sneaker store just think, like, oh, I'm just going to get all the dope shit and have that shit showcased all the time, versus, like, it's a balanced approach. Like, you get cool stuff or dope shit, but you also have to be able to move regular shit, too.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up because we have a store out here called Manor, and it's doing really well. And when it first started out, one of the major things that they built a really good brand around their own merchandise that they sell for themselves. And then, they got a lot of the brands like Herschel and a lot of stuff like that. But a lot of their sneakers on the wall, it was like, Clark's. It was, Carhu. Is that what it's called? Carhu, Clearweather. It was a lot of these like brands that are like maybe popular in other areas. And you go to a place, you say a sneaker shop, and you don't see any Nikes on the shelves yet. You don't see any Adidas on the shelves. And this is back when Boost was like, Adidas Boost and stuff was like at top tier. They didn't even have any of that in the store yet. And they've been able to survive and weather that, selling and proving that they can sell stuff, move other product, and get that thing. They have like once a month parties. They have a lot of events at the place. And that feeling that we talk about restoring, sometimes you'll go in there, just for the party. It'd be like some free beer and some music. I mean, you might find yourself buying a pair of something that you might not have would have bought just because of the feeling of being in there. But now they have Adidas, they have Nikes, they've been doing collaborations with Nikes. So they're actually doing pretty good for themselves. And is that something Sneaker School would teach us? Like, do you recommend even people even having that mindset still to open up a boutique?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Absolutely. I think, like, my thing is, like, if you're going to open up a boutique, know that, go into it. Actually, let me take that back. If you're going to open up a boutique, you have to have a dual passion, meaning, like, do you love cookies and you like sneakers? So, like, open a cookie sneaker shop, because, like, you need something that's going to generate revenue on a regular basis, because people eat cookies every day. They don't buy sneakers every day. Right. So it's kind of, how do you, my homie Marcus, we always talk about, like, odd pairings. How can you pair two things that are odd and make that a store together? And because of where sneakers are today, it's like, it's so diverse that, like, if you open a coffee shop that has a sneaker wall that sells all retro shit, you'll do super fine because people drink coffee every day and the backdrop is sneakers. But, like, if it's only going to be a sneaker store, you have to do something really, really special to keep continuing traffic to in. every single day to meet your margins. But like, if I had to lend advice to someone who wants to open a boutique, look at it as like a double-edged sword. Like, how can I do this to pay the rent, but then still have my sneaker store running on the other side? But I think the days of like only leading it with a sneaker boutique only is slowly becoming dead. Because even if you look at like Nike, you go into a Nike store, like they have 500, not literally, but like
right.
They have a whole bunch of things that will engage you outside of their products. You know, like, how much steps did you take today? It's like, oh man, I'm only coming here to focus on weight loss. Oh shit, let me buy a pair of tights.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, they have everything outside of the product that engages you to come in the store, and then you almost buy the product by default because the experience is so rich.
You know, that's a good point. I mean, sometimes I have a lot of friends when it comes to like the sneakers app and buying off apps. I have a lot of friends that sometimes they lose out on so many sneakers so many times that when they have the opportunity to like buy something, you know, that they normally wouldn't, they almost have to, because and that's what we call it, like a win or a L. Like when you finally have the opportunity to get something on there, it's an experience, and it's something that like Nike and everybody's been able to, like, you know, you can now share your win. Like, I got the Travis Scotts this week. You can share online and basically show off to everybody who didn't get the Travis Scotts this week, but you got them. You're a little bit extra special today. And that's something that people relish in.
Like, and we've been talking a lot about retail. Like, I went to, I think it was like a Jordan event, and they had just opened a Jordan store somewhere, and to celebrate the opening of the store, it was like an open bar and all you could eat food, but all the shoes were still on sale. And I was like, I just picked because I like to pay attention. So I'm sitting back in the cut, and I see as people start to drink more, how easily they start to buy product. And I was like, yo, Nike and Jordan really figured this shit out, where like you get people sauced up and they buy the shoes. And it's like, but when you step back from it, it's really just saying the richer the experience in a store, the better position you are for people to spend money. Right. And I feel like that's where really retail is going now. Like, if you go into Saks, you'll see it. Like, in the middle of the day, they're giving you free this, free that to just draw you in. Then once you feel real comfortable, you feel like you had a cool experience, next thing you know, you pull out your card. So I think like that's, if you're going to run in bricks and mortar, think about it from like an experience standpoint. Like, how do I make somebody feel real comfortable in my presence, so then they loosen up their wallet? Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Well, I will tell you this, that I'm excited, you know, to hear, you know, like I said, we have a friend who's currently right now enrolled in sneaker school, and I definitely want to hear his experience. We definitely want to have J Tips on again. And I don't have anything else additional for you. I do want, you know, to tell you that we do appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us about this. And
absolutely.
And we encourage our listeners to do what you said. If you have any doubts about it, you're really interested and you're curious about it, you like to resell, you like to research sneakers, you like to write about sneakers. We have friends that listen to the podcast that like write weekly on, you know, blogs and stuff. I think this is something that'd be good for them to check out. Ask for a sample email, ask them to see a module, see if it's something that you could benefit from. Once we get that vanity site squared away, you know, for our show, you know, offer, you know, a scholarship to the program, we'll definitely let everybody know. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to say, Dion, before we let go.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show. You guys are doing a great job.
Appreciate it.
If people are interested in the sneaker school, it's sneakerschool.com. On social, it's yellowbrick.sneakers. If you guys have questions for me, and, you know, if you need help to like figure out if this course is for you, or you have partnerships ideas or ideas that you heard about during the show, feel free to hit me on IG as well. It's my name, Dion Walcott, DionWalcott. And yeah, I hope people jump on it, and we could give you guys, if not one, a couple scholarships to give away to some of your listeners. and I think it'll be cool, man.
All right, on. Well, this is Dion Walcott. We appreciate you. Like you said, hit him up if you got some ideas or something. Hit him up, man. Like, it's good to share information now. A lot of back in the day, people didn't share. So nobody knew and nobody learned. So you have the opportunity to learn about what you have a passion for, and you have good people like Dion and Andrew and supporters at FIT and Complex who will definitely guide you through this and get you going, get you something excited about.
For sure.
So we appreciate
you guys having me on.
Oh, of course. All right. So I'll talk to you later, Dion.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, man. Peace.
Later.
All right, fellas. Be good.
That was a good conversation. I like that. Good, concise. Everybody, check it out. Listen. I need everybody to listen to that. Like,
check it out. Listen.
All right, look, man. It's something that you can learn and do. If somebody could get something a little additional out of something outside of the norm, Instagram and following and taking pictures of your own sneakers.
Listen, I think when we first talked about this, we thought it was like
money
people
grab
learning
nonsense.
about. Well, I mean, not so much that, but yes, and people learning about like the history of shoes. To me, the history of shoes is not all that important. But when you go in there and it's like a business class too, and they have people in there who've been in the industry before, and they're talking about supply chain management or economics or how to run a retail business, behind the scenes, what really happens as opposed to what people think happens versus how to run maybe a consignment shop. And I know we had whatever episode that was, 5th episode or whatever we had, Flight Pound Man on, talking about the difference between running a retail store and running a consignment store. And we heard it from him in 5th episode, that when you run a retail store, you can't just get Yeezy 2s. You got to take Monarch 4s and
right.
whatever. Well, no, I'm talking. I'm not going to go to a different brand. You got from the same brand. You got to take stuff because that's the only way you're going to get Yeezy 2s. But yeah, you got to take Monarch 4s and clothing you might not be able to sell. And I said that a long time ago about Manor, is they were smart in making a. It's going to be tough to duplicate a Kith or duplicate a John Elliott, even though a John Elliott is not necessarily a sneaker shop. A West Coast Kith does not exist if you really think about it. I mean, Undefeated is a gigantic brand, but their clothes aren't the same lane as Kith. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they sell tons of their own apparel.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I think Manor did a good job, number one, creating a logo. And obviously they have many logos because they have the M, and then they had the word Manor spelled out. Now they have the one with the shoes hanging over the cactus.
But it's something about their logos that are like, it's not too much and it's not too little.
All right. So they did a good job. And then obviously the quality of the T-shirts they use is a little bit better than what you would normally expect. It's not Gildan T-shirt, Facts. The snapbacks, even though we know snapbacks are all made in China, are still wool snapbacks. They're not cheese dick hats. So, I mean, you guys will appreciate that. So they did a good job knowing their consumer, picking out, what they wanted to sell, and then also doing events in their store. Now, I'll be the first one to admit, I've never been to an event in the store. I've seen Jeremy 15 times. Never in the store. I've seen it only around like the neighborhood. Like last time a couple weeks ago was at the bar. So I've never actually been in the store when he is there. It's like impossible to get to the store when he's in the store. But I'm not big on like retail events like that. But that's because I'm an old man. Like when I was 25 or 23 or 18, I would have been at all that stuff because number one, there's our specials. Number two, you're probably going to network. You might get a connection on some kind of shoe or whatever else.
Yeah.
And we're getting off on a little bit of a tangent here, but the sneaker school thing is important for this kind of stuff. Like, it's more than just learning, because I don't need someone to just stand up there and lecture. And he said a lot of it was online anyways, but I don't need anyone to stand up there and lecture me about where shoes started. I have a lot of that knowledge myself. And I really, if I was going to that, wouldn't care anyways. I would care about how to start a store, how to start a sneaker con, how to start a magazine, how to start this, how to start that, if you really are into that kind of stuff. And it's interesting that he was talking about, we used to make fun of places that would have like haircuts and shoes in the same building. I don't know that I agree with him in terms of having two off the beat things together. Kith Treats works because
Kith
Kith already existed.
Right.
So those niche things may start working in the future, but it's not like you see a ton of that stuff working already. But it's interesting perspective to still hear it, even if I don't agree that it's necessarily the best thing. The best thing, to be honest, might be to catch on to this like White Claw and Truly phase.
Right.
Try to get yourself a liquor license and then be like an apparel or I don't want to say streetwear, but you know what I mean, streetwear, sneaker shop or whatever, and then you sell Spike Seltzer. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and like you said, like, you know, just for an example, like, you know, I do want to get the owner of Prime Kicks and Cuts, I believe, in Chandler on here. I want to get him to come to the podcast one day and talk about that whole process. But like you said, if Kith opened a barbershop right now, it'd be the greatest thing ever. You know, and we've never seen, like, at least we haven't on our side, a barbershop inside of a retail store. It's a barbershop with a consignment shop.
And Kith would they'd be able to get barbers from wherever they wanted. Like, barbers would want to go work for them, so they would get the best. You know what I mean?
I would pull the clippers out and oil them up, bruh. I would oil them up and go get my license. So.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, you got to do that first.
I would get my license, so I'd be like, yo, what y'all got? And it's funny, he said about, or you or him, the Kith not being a West Coast thing, and they opened up a shop in Hawaii. Like, I would imagine a Kith in the sneaker community would be killing it in Hawaii.
When?
It's been open for about a few months, maybe. So it's been open for a while. They re-released the Coca-Cola
Didn't
stuff.
even know that.
Yeah, I think it's Kith Hawaii. Unless that was just a special pop-up shop or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They always do pop-ups.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was a pop-up. I don't know. But I would imagine that would destroy on an island, like, you know, for whatever the sneaker community and aficionados are out there. So, anyway, George, cop anything this week? Pickups.
Yeah, two things. I don't think I'm gonna keep either one. If they don't sell, I'm taking them back. Actually, I guess I didn't technically cop one of them yet. I won the raffle for the Kyrie SpongeBob joint that comes out tomorrow, and then I copped Kawhi White and Gold or whatever.
Yeah, that dropped the other night. Did it sell out?
Came out this morning.
Oh, okay, yeah, I saw it, and I
pretty sure it sold out.
I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, should I?" But I seen like a bunch of New Balance stuff on Instagram, like they about to drop a grip of color soon.
Yeah,
like,
3 colors came out today, later in the day at Shoe Palace.
Oh, okay.
The white one I got on New Balance, but take it back. But don't sell.
So you go size you get?
12.5.
Oh, okay. Might like it. Might want to rock it. Wear it to the gym. You know? Kawhi's out there balling. You know?
That's true. The first thing you said is not true.
Got Seattle 10s, which I said, which, you know, I like them a lot.
Did
but
you go somewhere and buy them, or did you order them?
I got them off Nike, so they can go back.
So you got them already or no?
Yeah, I already got them already.
Oh, all right.
And I like them a lot, but I don't know. I feel like I would be keeping them just to keep them.
So me saying you not copping is the equivalent of if you
No.
It is.
No, it's not.
You have to keep. Okay, so then from now on, I'm going to say you ain't keeping. Because there's no point. What's the point of me saying you not copping if you don't keep it?
Fam, relax. I didn't make that decision yet.
It doesn't matter. What's the point of me saying that if you not keeping the shoe?
We just talked about this with Dion, man. All right. There's something about the history of something. I look at Seattle 10s, and I've never been a person that talked about the city pack as high.
He didn't come on the show and tell people to cop nostalgia.
No. Oh, no. He didn't say that. But I'm saying that I still enjoy that nostalgia and that feeling.
Yeah, that's fine. And then you take it back. Then it doesn't count.
No, if I take it back, I can buy it later. Okay.
You're not gonna rebuy
I can't.
it.
You don't know that, because I am one person who still goes back and looks for stuff like that.
If it goes to $59.97, yeah, you might, but you ain't copping.
Look, I love them.
Like I said from the very jump.
I do like them. Okay, I like them a lot, and I think that's it. I bought some Ultra Boost 19s for the homie Chris for his birthday. You know, shout out to Chris. He always takes care of me for my Cowboys tickets, and he's one of my super duper homies. You know, I consider Chris family, so I got my pair of Ultra Boost 19s. Man, them joints are just. I'm sorry, Ultra Boost 19s are fire. You know? I don't care what nobody say. Like, I need a pair.
Certain ones are.
They're fire.
Certain ones.
I've only come across a few colorways that I thought like, what the? But
once I didn't get my green and whites, I gave up. I don't care.
Oh, so I thought you had bought them again.
No.
Oh, so I thought you had got them again. Oh, okay.
I don't care anymore.
But I'm like, man,
especially if they're retro and 1.0s. I'd rather have those.
Yeah, but I heard a lot of people say these 19s are more comfortable than.
They might. Yeah, they might be. There's more boost.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, thicker boost, I would imagine, probably makes the difference.
I'm trying to think what else. I don't think there's anything else grabbed this week. Any releases, anything?
Let's see. Well, Kyrie pack came out today. Well,
Oh.
or Kyrie pack comes out tomorrow. Not pack, but whatever.
So did you try to cop the Kyrie 6?
No.
Oh, okay. Why not? I think
You
it
said
was,
the website wasn't working, and after that, once I read that, I was like, so there's no reason
it was
me to try.
doing some weird stuff. But, like, I don't know if that model was a special colorway. I don't know if they accidentally
The
dropped it.
6 doesn't exist yet. The 5s are what's coming out right now. Like, Concepts is doing another collab.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
if you saw
6s do exist. What are you talking about? All the pictures, you've seen pictures of 6s
that.
before.
Yeah, they're not. They don't exist in release world yet.
Well, that was the whole thing with those. This was an overseas set, so I don't know if like there was a surprise drop because the NBA season started.
This place in Miami, wasn't it?
Oh, it was? I thought it was in Italy or something. I don't know.
What store was it?
I can't even remember. It was on somebody tweeted it out. I don't know. But I thought it was like overseas. I was like, oh shoot, they must have accidentally dropped them joints or something.
Where's the website?
And they look really close to Easy 2s, which is obviously something we're going for. But it was a crazy colorway. Like it was.
Oh, all right, it is Foot Patrol. I thought it was.
Yeah,
I
Foot
thought it was
Patrol. That's
something in
right.
Miami.
So I didn't know if it was an accidental drop or messed up. Like sizes were sold out, but like it kept letting me add stuff to the cart, but it wouldn't let me check out. So I was like, all right, well, forget that or whatever. Because I was like, yo, you get your hands on those quick, and if those are a special colorway or something, they could do something. What comes out this week?
Well, not Kyrie. Kyrie comes out tomorrow. Kawhi came out today. Apparently another NASA Paul George shoe came out today or comes out tomorrow.
Bro, he needs his own Tom Satch, like his own Tom Satch. they might as well give him a Tom.
That might be what they were gonna get towards.
They have to.
You never know.
He needs to go to space camp.
Those Nike Golf Air Max 1s that came out, those are kind of dope. Now,
The
if I
green
could
ones
get-
are fire.
Yeah, if I could get those for about $49, I might cop.
All golf shoes should be $49.
All right.
If there's a shoe that gets trashed
here.
more than any sport, it's a golf shoe.
I don't know what you had planned on putting on the list, but Skeleton Air Max 1 or Air Force 1s come out.
You sign up for those?
Man.
Bro, what? Are you crazy? You better sign up for them. Look, you being a high beach reseller, you better sign up for those. I'm trying for my brother-in-law, but them joints, they fly.
Okay, maybe there's more than one coming out, but these are only $165 resale. I don't need that. That's
Okay.
doing a lot of work for $10. Undefeated 90 pack comes out apparently. SB Dunk High collab with 40% Against Rights, whatever that is,
What the
comes
heck
out.
is that
with the,
look like?
different tongue. It's like a Jordan 6 tongue or something on a dunk.
Oh, get that out of here. I saw that.
Oh yes, it sucks. But
That's
you
crazy.
said, "What is that?" So I'm showing you a picture.
No, that joint looks like civil rights. That joint looks crazy. I don't like those.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that, but okay.
Scratch that. A second, Mark.
Size Skate High Halloween collab is coming out. Size ?
What that look like? They got a collab too? Dang.
What that?
Ooh, them is kind of fire.
What that mouth do? That's
Okay,
what you
settle
sounded
down,
like when you
Charlamagne.
said that.
Them joints are fire. I never even seen those before.
I need you
What?
to chill out.
You don't think them is clean? I need to zoom in, but they all right.
Well, you need to zoom in. Then why are you saying that? They look like something straight out of the Joker catalog. I mean, they got.
Oh yeah, those suck.
Okay.
They all right.
Thank you.
They cool.
Okay.
The Joker catalog. Ooh, I can't wait for Chaos to come out.
And the Jordan 1 High OG 3.0 Shattered comes out, men's and kids sizes.
You copping?
I'm going to try for a small size, obviously. Probably be unsuccessful, but that's all right.
Ooh, I don't know if you saw the comments, boy. Somebody don't like you. So you're sick of George. He's just a reseller. He's a high beast.
That person will be absolutely right, and I've never denied it. I don't care.
Nah. And I told him. I said, look, George likes what he likes. I like what I like. I said, George has over 300 sneakers at his house. He likes what he likes and he keeps what he likes. He's like, you're just a high beast reseller. Look, man.
I'm a hater. People know that. I mean, what do they expect?
I told him, I said, it's part of the show. We actually mean what we say. Like, George ain't acting.
Yeah, I don't care.
Don't care.
You get mad at me, I don't care.
Yeah, George don't care.
Harden 4 comes out, I guess. Pink Lemonade. YouTube KD 12 comes out.
Start doing spit sounds when they suck.
Shoe you might want. Cortez Halloween shoe comes out. Cortez Day of the Dead. And
like
Air
black.
Force One Low Day of the Dead.
The Air Force One I saw, they came out this morning. Not really a fan of those.
Probably in Europe, though, I would imagine.
There's like 3M something on it. Man, you got me a little worried now. Boy, I signed up for a lot of raffles for them skeleton feet, Air Force Ones. And I did it for my brother-in-law, but I ain't trying to end up with 5 pairs. And them joints are clean, dude. They glow in the dark on the sole. Them joints is cool. Wish they were white, though. The white one that had the skeleton last year, that was better.
All right. Apparently, another Yeezy Boost 700 comes out. I haven't even seen these yet, I don't think. Or maybe I saw them and didn't realize what it was.
What color is this?
Teal?
Anxiety gray? What is
Yeah,
this?
I mean, pretty much.
Man, you don't get that out of here.
Teal, blue.
There might be I think there has to be at least 60 plus colorways, 70, 80 of every model, 700s, V2s. There might be 50 of just V2s now. Like, there is a lot.
And Concepts Kyrie 5 Orion's Belt collab comes out this weekend.
I don't really care for those. They're not better than the first Kyrie Concepts
No. The
one.
first one might be the best Kyrie 5 that came out.
It's a possibility.
That might be the best one.
My son has the white and green, like
that
St. Patrick's Day one. Just
pack you were talking about comes out that you say came out last year. I think you were wrong about that, by the way.
What?
The one looks like the Huarache and the Huarache.
Yeah,
looks like
they came out separately, though, because I've seen pictures of people on Instagram post pictures of wearing the Huarache before. They came out separately. This is coming with a double box pack. You get both.
Then why can't you find them for sale anywhere then? Like,
I've
on
definitely
resale
seen
websites.
those before. Unless maybe
I think you make the story.
maybe they talked about it way back then. They just haven't released yet. Maybe that's what I saw. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you
but it
make
was
the
definitely a while ago. Well, we talked about it, I think. Like, why are they
What day is
switching
October
themes?
29th?
Tuesday.
Okay, so before we have another show, the red carpets come out. So it doesn't technically come out this week, but
And not knowing when we had that conversation last week, I wouldn't have bought Seattle 10s for red carpets.
so you can
Actually, I don't know.
take them back.
I don't know. I feel like red carpets are necessary, man. Red carpets are fire. And it's probably the better colorway LeBron 7.
You're only saying that
Besides
because you
the
got
one-
new pants. That's the only
Huh?
reason. Only reason you're saying
Bruh.
that because you have new pants.
If you don't get on,
If you're not copping these, you're an actual fool. Don't?
not copping and can cop are two different things. I'm definitely not buying an entire pack for like $325. So
I'm not buying a pack.
you think you have to, don't you?
I have no idea, but I'm not buying a pack.
On the retail side, you have to buy the pack. Now, if you want to buy them separately on any other website on GOAT, that's cool.
I'll go in the store and slap somebody.
That's that sound when the cable go out. What else? That's it.
Yeah. So what this says is Nike released the DNA CH1 pack in June 2019, but I think it was different colors.
No, it was those.
It was reversed. No, it can't be because this says this rendition of the sneaker swaps.
It couldn't reverse because that's what they did. They reversed it now.
Fam, I'm reading the thing right here.
All right, B. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I've seen those shoes a long time ago. That's how I'll put it. And we were like, what, man? Now you're going to put Air Max 1 colorways on Huarache colorways? Like, where's the creativity in that? But them Air Max 1s, though, them was the fire, though.
Yes.
The Huarache isn't too bad either, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, there's no other Air Max 1 on here for sale. It comes out the 27th.
Which
is Sunday.
Before we get to
NBA.
well, let me go ahead and read the
NBA has begun.
Let me go ahead and take care of our homies over at goat.com/sneakdis. If you are buying sneakers online, there is more than a coin flip's chance that the shoe you're looking at is fake. How can you be sure it's real? Goat.com is the safest way to buy and sell authentic sneakers online. These are facts. They are the largest marketplace in the world for authentic Yeezys, Jordans, and over. It says 600,000, but it's way more than 600,000 now. They got to at least be in the million right now of sneaker listings. They've made the whole process frictionless and trustworthy. These are facts. We buy, we do everything through GOAT. They do this by only accepting sellers with the best reputation and by verifying all sneakers to ensure their authenticity for buyers. Every detail is inspected from the stitching and color to the size and weight. GOAT certifies that every pair of sneakers on their site matches exact factory specifications. With over 500,000 sneakers on the platform and 10 million users, you won't find better prices for verified 100% authentic sneakers anywhere else. Find the perfect 100% authentic sneaker at goat.com/sneakdiz. That's goat.com/sneakdiz. Like we say every single week, you'll be supporting our show by going to the site. Go to the site, look around, find a classic, find something that brings a memory to you, a feeling to you. Find something that you wanted way back in the day and find it for a great price. They got them on there. They sell brand new and pre-owned sneakers. A lot of other sites don't. Now, before the sneakers are gone that you want, man, get on there quick. Like I said, when you go to goat.com/sneakdisc, that's spelled GOAT.com/sneakdisc. Get on there and cop. They got stuff on you. I've been on there. I've been on Goat putting a lot of Asics, like classic ones, in my little watch list or whatever it's called, because
Yes, in your locker.
I've been wearing. I almost said locker. I almost said that thing about Nike ID, but nah. There's a lot of classic Aces on there. Some really good prices. I'm trying to catch somebody slipping, B. So when you see me come through with Lava 5s, Jelly 5s, you're gonna be like, ooh.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, go.com/sneakdisc, B. NBA started, fam. Did you watch any last night?
Hold on, before you get to NBA.
Did you watch World Series last night?
Hold on. No, I didn't watch nothing. What was last night? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday. I traveled back on Monday.
Oh yeah, the meeting last night.
Tuesday. Oh, that's right. I had a meeting till like about 8:30, and then I had to go pick Hannah up because the car's in the shop and my car don't start. So I might be you. You're making fun of you for the Jaguar. You might be making fun of me for my car. Anyways, bruh, if these Astros don't get it together, I'm gonna fly off the handle. I swear.
You know what's crazy is you hate the Astros.
No, I don't hate the Astros. I hate the Montreal Expos, and if they win one more game in this series, I'm gonna lose it.
They're gonna win the World Series.
I dislike whoever the Dodgers play. So, if the Dodgers lose to some team that they shouldn't lose to, then I start hating that team. But that's not the reason why I'm annoyed with the Expos players. They're not that good.
Oh no, they're not.
Howie Kendrick is trash the last 3 years, and all of a sudden now he's Babe Ruth. What are we doing?
The way they started the season off is how they should have ended the season off. They're not that good of a team. The reason why I don't like the Nationals now is because there's been other years where I thought they were way better teams, and I thought like, oh, okay, this might be the year. I fell for that about 2 or 3 times since the Nationals have existed. Like, you know what? This might be the time.
Oh yeah, everyone has.
This might be the time. I fell for it back then. This is why, like, they're in my list of like them, the Falcons, like other teams. Where I'm like, I hate them. Like the Texans, I hate them because there's times where I really put my faith and thought like, whoo, they up next, and it let me down. I can't go for the Nationals now.
Listen, Rendon is leaving. They're not going to re-sign Rendon, so he's gone. More than likely, one of the pitchers is going to be gone at some point because they're not going to be able to afford to re-sign him. Strasburg might opt out, and he might be gone. Sorry, Expos. This is your last season, all right? No, it is. I understand Soto's 20 years old. The rest of the team is trash. Howie Kendrick's about to be 900 years old. Zimmerman's about to be 900 years old. Zimmerman is a chalk outline as far as I'm concerned, and he hit 2 of the biggest home runs of the postseason, and Howie Kendrick hit the other one.
Okay, but the thing is
Two
that
chalk
when
outlines.
it comes to baseball, it seems like there's no real definition of like a good team.
In the
Like,
playoffs,
it
that's
just doesn't
true
seem like
because
it.
it's a random game.
I mean,
If someone's throwing a ball at you 100 miles an hour, you hit it, you do. If you don't hit it, you don't.
Yeah, but see, saying that with baseball playoffs is different because you play a series. It's not like a one game.
It
Like,
doesn't matter. It's still random. It's just like hockey.
yeah, it's random, but like random
The only
fades away a little bit in
listen,
a series.
the only two
football, that's random. You play one game. The Titans could go out there and mop the Patriots one day, and you'd be like, "What the heck?" Like that's random.
No.
Thing.
But the difference in those sports, basketball and football, is someone has the ball in their hand, and they get to determine where the ball goes using their hand. In baseball, you're holding a bat, and you have to hit a ball coming at you. Same thing in hockey. You have a stick, and you're hitting the puck. So the accuracy of the game you're playing, the control that one player has over the game, and the control that one person has lowers, and the randomness increases in those games.
Oh, of course.
Which is why in shorter spans, a 5-game series, a 7-game series, anyone can win. You could pull a team out that had like 80 wins, and they could beat the Astros in a series. I'm sure it happened during the year. But that's not my issue. My issue is, I think more than anything, it's not that I dislike any of the Nats players, Expos, excuse me. I refuse to call them that. It's not that I dislike the players like personally or whatever. And with a lot of teams, I don't dislike the players. I don't like, and we've talked about this a million times, I don't like overperformance by people who have no business overperforming. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in sports.
This must be your nightmare series because you don't like that about them. And you don't like that about them either.
Listen, the Expos won 95 games or 94 games or whatever, and they had a good run differential. So it's not like the San Francisco Giants when they were winning World Series or the St. Louis Cardinals when they were winning World Series with like 87 win teams. It's not that bad. But this Astros team and the Dodgers team that they beat were two of the best teams in baseball history in the regular season. And if they beat both of them, it will be one of the most inexplicable World Series championships ever. Anyways, back to the point I was trying to make. I don't dislike any of the Expos players. What I dislike is people now coming back out with their predictions from like preseason that say, oh, the Nats are in the World Series or the Nats are going to win it. When guess what? In May, you wrote them off. I guarantee you I can go back to every single one of those people's timelines who picked the Nats to be where they are right now. And in May, they're like, oh, well, that pick's down the drain. Yeah. I don't like people like that.
I mean, look, it happens. Baseball is one of those sports, we've talked about it before on this podcast, plenty of times. You can go on a 16-game losing streak and then go on a 25-game. Like, it jumps so quick because so many teams – which I guess plays into the randomness. So many teams can start off so high, and you'd be like, man, they've been first to All-Star break, and then they don't even make the playoffs. They could fall off just that quick, which shifts up, who's in first and second, just like that. Yankees, I would have thought the Yankees was guaranteed to win it this year. I would have thought that. Now, statistically speaking, and Dodgers winning the most games, the most games they ever won in a season, I think, this year, right? Mm-hmm. What, 103, whatever it was?
No, 106.
106. Them doing that, I would have loved to say that, but I don't trust them yet in the playoffs. Now, the Nationals, I don't have a problem with them winning it now because that to me plays in with coaching, like management, coaching, stuff like that. Yeah, I look at this team.
He's not a good manager, though.
People were ready to. They were ready to fire him. They didn't like him at first, but like,
no, this isn't his first year.
I know that. I'm saying that they were ready to get rid of. I know that when the season first started, they started what 19 and 31 or something. Yeah, whatever the case was, they were ready to get rid of him.
19 and 33.
I don't even think a lot of players. I don't think like not Strasburg, homeboy, other pitcher, old man.
Scherzer.
I don't think he definitely doesn't like him. I think I've seen someone trying to scrap him one time. Anyways,
he's not a good manager.
Well, I don't know that.
Not a good manager.
There's a difference. If you could pull a team that doesn't have, if you could pull a team that doesn't have the talent that we're used to seeing on all these other teams, you can't say someone's not a good manager. I don't look at the Celtics. They're like the Celtics.
The Cubs just fired Joe Madden. People seem to think Joe Madden is one of the greatest. Joe Girardi doesn't have a job. People seem to think Joe Madden is one of the greatest managers of all time. Baseball, not all time. Baseball great manager doesn't exist because the players essentially do your job for you. The managers in baseball only control so many things. They can control the bullpen and pinch hitters, and that's it. They don't control as much as in basketball. Listen, in baseball, if you could sub freely and a guy didn't exit the game permanently, then there might be a little more strategy because you can match things up and do whatever, and then if you fail, you fail. But in basketball and football, where you can sub freely, you can set your matchups and whatnot, and you have more control over like diagramming plays, X's and O's, it makes much easier to evaluate someone. But in baseball, where you don't have very little control over the game as a manager, the best managers, number one, they're probably managing egos in the clubhouse. That's very important. And then understanding when to bring bullpen guys in and knowing how numbers work. This guy is a left-handed hitter. Even though he's left-handed, he hits left-handed pitchers really well, so I'm going to bring a righty in to face him. If you know stuff like that and you know when your pitchers are tired, you're a good manager. But this thing about like Aaron Boone is good or A.J. Hinch is good, all these dudes have also been managers of terrible teams at some point or another. I don't want to. Okay, well, he's been a manager for 1 year, year and a half, or whatever it is. I mean, that's whatever. All these arguments about like good manager, and it doesn't exist in baseball. Same thing in hockey. If you look long term, most of the people that they call best, whatever, are probably like 500 record overall. Because yes, you might have a year where you win, where you score in hockey, you have 110 points. Then you might have a year when you have 80 points. Like Scotty Bowman is a Hall of Famer probably, and he's got multiple championships, but he probably also has 3 or 4 times when he's been fired. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. I mean, you don't see stuff like that, like with Greg Popovich. And in other words, the difference between a great coach or great manager in basketball and football is obvious, whereas in baseball and hockey, it's not.
Okay, that sounds better than that you don't then.
Popovich doesn't get fired. Belichick doesn't get fired, ever. He did from the Jets, but then he figured out how to be incredible with what he's got in New England. There just are people. Phil Jackson would never get fired. He left on his own terms. Red Auerbach would never get fired. He left on. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it is in those sports.
Yeah, but that sounds better then. You can't visually see the control and the power that the manager has over a team's win or losses as much as you can over basketball and football. I agree with that. But I think baseball might have more than hockey. Hockey is a hard one. Now there's shifts, there's all kind of stuff that you do. That mean that, and looking at the players, saying if you got it today, right hand, left hand pitchers, pitch hitting, all that type of stuff. There's a lot of things you could do, but I do think this is a prime example of good management because I think egos in a sense like that, especially playing as much as baseball players do, it can go downhill extremely fast. Like, and especially considering the fact that nobody likes him, it seems like. I'm not sure how much the players really like him, but he held everybody together and got the actual maximum effort out of them. Listen. Now, winning does help the situation.
Yes, if Cody Bellinger performed in the playoffs like he did in the regular season, no one would be asking Dave Roberts to be fired. Dave Roberts hasn't had a season this year or a season yet in his career where he's lost or won fewer than 92 games or whatever. But would you call him like a spectacular manager? I wouldn't. I mean, especially based on what he did in Game 5 with Kershaw and the other arms he had in the bullpen.
See, that's a good example of control. Like, that was a bad decision. That was bad.
Multiple bad decisions. Leaving Joe Kelly in.
Right. But it's hard.
That's my point. The guy has never lost fewer than 92 games, but he's not going to blow you away with his decision-making prowess.
But I look at that as like, how can I blame him? It's when it comes to the Dodgers, it's the same players all the time that we like get disappointed in when it comes to playoff time. Like every single year, it's like the exact same ones we look for.
That's the point that I'm making is the players decide how good the manager really looks.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I look at somebody like when who won the World Series with the Cubs? Was it Madden?
Yes, Madden.
When he won the World Series with the Cubs, I think that was a big difference. And also having homeboy from the general manager from the Red Sox at the time. Like, I think that stuff does matter. Like, there's decisions and people that, like, fit certain spots. That's why with, like, Verlander and all
they
them.
They had basically the same team, and they won, like, 85 games this year. 87 games or whatever. I mean, it's basically the same roster. They're 2 years older. 3 years older or whatever, it's basically the same roster. Maybe the pitching staff's a little bit different. They have all the same guys in their lineup. And their lineup actually may have been better now than it was back then.
Might have been better.
Because Baez is better than he was, and so is Contreras. Now, some of those guys may have been hurted, but may have been injured. But that's what I'm saying is like the argument for great manager in baseball is never going to resonate with me because it's not a game that you can affect with tons of decisions like other games are. It's just not. For the most part, a manager doesn't do anything in the first 6 innings of a game. For the most part.
You're pretty much right.
Now, you have to set your lineup to start the game, and you have to know your defensive shifts and that kind of stuff and how to pitch to certain guys. But you have 25 million assistant coaches to help you with that. You have a pitching coach, a bullpen coach, bench coaches, a third base coach, a first base. You know what I mean? You have all these people to help you and management above you to tell you, especially in analytical organizations like the Astros and the Dodgers, hey, this dude pulls the ball 49% of the time. Shift. This dude hits the opposite field 50% of the time. Shit. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Astros better get themselves together.
An in-game managing of things is much more difficult in basketball and football. And I give those guys a lot more credit than I would give a baseball manager. And at the same time, a baseball manager doesn't deserve as much blame because he's not really doing that much except pitching changes. I mean,
see, I like that too then. See, that's why with Dave Roberts, I don't blame him. Like, there were, like, of course it was a bad decision. Like, there was a couple bad decisions. But it's like, look, man, this team won the most games they've ever won before. Like, what is so different now? So I don't blame him. I don't think he should be fired. I don't think if they got Joe Girardi or if Madden didn't go to Angels or whatever, they'd be better. I don't think so. Like, they still got the same people. If they don't spend any money this year, they're not going to be even better. But spending money doesn't mean nothing. I mean, the freaking Nationals. I mean, look, the Devil Rays, they make the playoffs this year. They got the lowest wild card game. They got like the lowest payroll in the entire league. So it's like there is a such thing as good decisions, and there is a good thing of
front
baseball.
Office, absolutely.
I don't know. Astros better get themselves together.
Scouting department and front office affects a lot more, in my opinion, than management. They're the ones who are out there getting the players, getting the information on the players back to the decision makers in the front office. This kid has this curveball. This kid fastball. This kid, his swing is short, compact through the zone. You know what I mean?
If the Nationals lose the World Series this year, and then if obviously the Dodgers don't win it next year, if the Nationals win it next year, I'd be fine with it. I'd be okay with it then.
They'll never get back ever again.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll tell you
They'll
this.
never be back in my lifetime.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean,
No, there's only one team that I can know for 100% fact.
They have historical one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history right now in Scherzer.
100% fact. Might be the greatest one. He is phenomenal.
No, Kershaw's still the greatest.
And
of
then
all time,
and you have Strasburg, was probably one of the most sought out pitchers. Like
he was, the most
jeez,
hype baseball player in history,
ever. And before he got injured as much as he did, shoulder and all. It's amazing that he's still playing. To be honest with you, I mean, I watched Zimmerman play when I was interning in DC. Like he's been there since what, 05? 04?
Now he's a corpse.
I mean,
no,
he's playing good now.
Look at his regular season numbers from this year. He's a below replacement level player. He has no business playing in the playoffs, and they're getting that out of him. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something that don't matter. It's regular season when you're hitting home runs in the playoffs. And that's
the regular season matters if that's your performance level going forward. Because what else do you have to base it on? If you saw someone perform terribly for 6 months, you're not going to all of a sudden be like, you know what? He's due. That's not how it works. The sample size of 500 plate appearances is not small.
It's not small, but like you said, you have a million assistant coaches. I believe in pitching coaches and batting coaches and all that. If there's one sport that I don't believe in assistant coaches on basketball teams. I don't believe in on football teams.
If someone's been bad over 500 plate appearances, why would you believe all of a sudden they're going to be better?
I'm not saying I believe they'll be better, but when they get better, I'm not shocked by it. You get extremely shocked by somebody who sucked one day and is good one day.
No. 500 plate appearances is not one day. It's an entire season.
That's fine. Verlander, when he was with Detroit and whatever, and started falling off, clearly, and he goes to the Astros. And
multiple seasons, his velocity went like this.
Right.
Like it's not small sample. That's 3 years.
That's fine.
That's 600 innings.
That's fine.
So you shouldn't expect it to magically get better.
Don't expect it. I'm not shocked if it does.
That's not how it works when you're 35 years old.
It's not okay, look. It's not how it works. Initially, when you get older and you start in the decline, yes, father time and all that is undefeated. But when it happens,
people are acting like, oh yeah, sure, Kershaw's decline. Kershaw's younger than the majority of the people that people think is a better pitcher than he is. The fact that he's declining at 31 and some of these, Zach Greinke's almost 40.
I guarantee if Kershaw went to another team, he would be phenomenal again.
I don't know about another team. If he went to the Astros, he would start throwing 98 miles an hour because that's just what's in the water. They
one-on-one
pitchers there. So
NBA started.
Kyrie 50 tonight. Burger.
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
Lost, but he got a 50 burger.
Oh, then I don't care about it no more. Once you get these things, I don't care about it. Now it was dope. I saw the highlight where he made that layup, and and all three Timberwolves players fell on the ground. He made the layup, and he went 1, 2, 3, and walked off. That's dope.
I didn't see it, but you shouldn't care because they lost. So
you're right, because just like Devin Booker scored 70 in Boston, and everyone was losing their minds out here, they lost. All right, scoring 70 points and losing should be impossible. It should be. Like, that's over half. Anyways, NBA started. I'm excited for it. That last night Lakers game, I don't know if you caught any of it getting home. That Lakers game, Clippers game might have been the most energy I had seen at a basketball game or watching on TV. I couldn't tell you the last time.
I don't think I got home till 9:30. I got off work. I had to drive pick Hannah.
Game was on to about 10.
I had to pick Hannah up at Higley in the 60, and then come all the way back home, get dinner, come back home, get dinner, and then go home.
I drove past Alma School a few weeks ago. Felt like I was in a new world.
That's because you live in California.
All right, settle down. I'm hyped for it. That like I said, that Lakers Clippers game last night was so electric. It was crazy.
The number one pick is out 2 months. Oh, who's excited? I mean,
what?
And Durant is out, and light skinned man is out. How is anyone excited about this season?
Which light skinned man? What are you talking
Golden
about?
State Warriors light skinned.
Oh, I'm out of a whole bunch of them. I'm thinking of. I mean, look, that's 3 teams. There's still, bro. There's too much movement. You cannot say you're not excited to watch the Rockets, see what they do. I mean, I'm already on PJ Tucker's stat watch. All right, I'm already getting ready. So
yeah, but you don't got to watch the game. You just look at the box score after
I
the game.
am definitely interested in seeing Westbrook and Harden out there at the same time. I mean, having Westbrook having the option to pass the ball to Harden or Eric
Houston,
Gordon,
listen,
or
Houston has reached the point where they like play really fast, but it's still boring. It's like the anti-Spurs. The Spurs used to be the most boring team in the league because they played slow. Now Houston is like the most boring team in the league because they play fast. And it's just like, okay, we get it, man. You go play fast. You shoot a lot of threes. You create a new move where you jump off one foot. I mean, it's boring. It is boring. I mean, there's nothing exciting about it.
Are you willing to say that Jordan Brand is cursed, though?
No.
I mean, what more do you need? Like, what more do you need, man? The brand's cursed.
I mean, what?
You sign with the brand, you get cursed.
What evidence have you provided of an actual curse? I mean, when you act like I'm crazy for saying no.
I'm about to go.
Saying no.
I'm about to go hit up like MIT or somebody, put together some type of.
The most ridiculous thing about the
Harvard.
whole thing was their front office coming out and saying like, "Oh, his body type is not what's responsible for this. He can play at 9% body fat." Man, if y'all don't get Zion down to 4 or 5% body fat, I swear to God, I'm slapping everybody. Though he is not playing. No player in NBA history has had that frame. So if people think who
Barkley has. Now, Barkley wasn't as explosive as him.
Barkley didn't weigh 280 pounds.
Barkley
285
weighed
pounds.
295 at one point.
No, he did not. Barkley's probably 3 inches shorter than Zion.
That's fine. But Barkley weighed 295 at one time. That's facts. Now, he wasn't as explosive. He wasn't
when he was 40 years old shooting threes and not running fast? What are you talking about?
Either way, it doesn't. He wasn't as no. At one point he got down to like 240, I think.
Barkley
time.
was never that heavy.
Well, I think we can look it up. I think we was.
Guaranteed. Never.
Either way, Barkley just wasn't as explosive as a Zion. He wasn't doing the
Look at highlights of his Philly days. He was jumping.
That's different. That was young. He wasn't Zion. It's not the same. Jumping and dunking and running and fast like that is not the same as Zion. Zion looks like he's being shot out of a medieval catapult when he moves.
And
all right.
If you watch highlights of Barkley, it looked the same. Barkley was never as big. He didn't look as portly. When Barkley played for the Sixers, he actually appeared in shape.
Oh yeah, he was flying across the floor. Him and
And
Moses Malone.
if you're talking about he played a season at 290 or whatever, when you're 40 years old with the Suns and all you do is shoot threes,
Rockets.
I don't care. You're not moving anywhere.
I don't know if that was the case. I'm going to look it up.
I guarantee you, and I'll put money on the line, Charles Barkley never played a season with the Sixers anywhere
not with
over
the Sixers.
240.
Not with the Sixers, and he still balled out with the Suns. Don't act like he was with the Suns and was like the shell of himself.
Who said that? He wasn't dunking on people and doing what he was doing with the Sixers.
He was
He's
getting
a
about
completely different
25
player.
rebounds every once in a while, 20 rebounds and stuff. Like, he was still balling.
Sure, when you weigh
And he
9,000 pounds, you block somebody out.
Look, Zion. Oh, and shout out to Chris
No
Webber,
one
though.
has
I hate Chris
ever.
Webber's
The
guts.
closest body type to Zion in the NBA is LeBron, and I guarantee you LeBron's body fat percentage is half of Zion's.
Oh, yeah.
Zion is not going to be able to play in the NBA at this weight, size, whatever. And the team coming out and saying that is absolutely ridiculous. And they think like, oh, there's some happy medium that we'll come to with like sports science where like the example they use was Blake Griffin. Bruh, Blake Griffin was shredded when he was in college. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Zion looks like he's one pizza away from 400 pounds.
Look, I talked about this already when I did the episode by myself. Look, I've seen it before. All right, his explosiveness is it is. We're talking about like players like we're talking about Stoudemire. We talk about Blake Griffin. We're talking about players who were never as big as him, have knee problems, and they had the same explosiveness and stuff. So somebody, which we've all said before he got drafted, Duke everywhere. The weight and his explosiveness is going to be his downfall. Stoudemire, them not even nowhere close looking like him, but they had the same explosiveness.
Him getting injured is
that
one
landing.
Listen, him getting injured is one thing. The team coming out and saying what they said after the fact is what is annoying. They have no business saying any of that. None.
I mean, well, they got to back him up. They might not think it.
No. All they had to say was, hey, guess what? He's going to rehab and he's going to be fine in 2 months. That's it.
Yes, I know, but they got to show face. Look, behind closed doors, you say whatever you want. Like, on the media, you run it back. It's like, look.
That's it.
It's just like if everybody's wrong.
And in the meantime, while he's rehabbing, they should be giving him nothing but fruits and veggies and getting him in shape.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure he's eating a few beignets and stuff too as well. You got to balance it out. Look, we'll see. But don't say
he needs to be playing at 4%. With his size and what he relies on.
It's too late.
It's not too late. It's a meniscus. It's not ACL. It's completely different.
Oh, no, I'm talking about with the weight thing. It's too late.
it's
Because
not
he had the opportunity over the
Look
summer.
at Kevin Love. What are you talking about? It's too late. Kevin Love was Sasquatch when he played at UCLA.
Okay, but, Kevin Love suffered from
big
a
difference.
lot of mental stuff that we've learned about. Like, I don't.
And that's fine. The point I'm making is an adult male can lose weight and get in shape to better themselves for a career. If Kevin Love would have tried to play in the NBA at that weight, he wouldn't have been able to guard me.
They could. Now, considering how much running and basketball he does right now, you would think he wouldn't be. And I don't know. Never.
Listen, NBA. We don't know what NBA teams do behind the scenes. I guarantee you it ain't much. They're working with their personal trainer. I highly doubt that NBA franchises have guys running stairs and doing plyometrics at practice.
They're not doing suicides?
I'm sure we can guarantee that.
I'm excited for the season. I've never been so excited for basketball season.
Him getting injured is one thing, and if they just came out and were like, yo, we're going to rehab him, and he's going to be brand new, good as new in 2 months, I'll be totally fine with it. But them coming out and saying, we're going to get his body to like whatever technical medical stuff, they were like, we're going to get his body into that stasis just like Blake Griffin when he came in the league. Bruh, Blake Griffin was shredded when he came in the league. Their body types are nothing alike. Blake Griffin is 6'10". Zion was measured in socks. It's like 6'6.5".
And he was
285. Are you kidding me?
Look, man, that's what makes the allure. That's the allure. This is what he did.
Complete nonsense. And if he wants a long career, he'll commit to doing that because it shouldn't be
better.
He's 8'19". It should not be difficult for him to lose that weight and trim up.
If he becomes nothing of what we expected or what they needed, will you believe in the Drum Brand curse?
We already know he is, though. You saw him play in the preseason. He was scoring 27 points a game on like 12 shots, 10 shots. Don't get hurt, and we know what he is.
I'm sick and tired of people saying that he's had this injury before. High school, he's been injured in college. And look, man, that could be the reason why you get injured more now because you've been playing for so long and got injured in the past.
Listen, I'm not listening to nobody who doesn't know him personally talk about he's had this in the past or had that in the past. The thing we know is he's out 2 months. If he was healthy, he wouldn't be out 2 months. That's a period, bottom line.
I could tell you this.
The team is not wasting it's the equivalent of saying Ben Simmons was held out for a year or Nuggets man was held out for a year as a redshirt year because the team didn't. No, if the kid was healthy, they would be selling tickets. These are businesses. They don't care about the kid's long-term health. They care about selling tickets now, hopefully building a winner down the line. It's the same thing we've been saying about the NFL. These teams are businesses. They don't care about all this other stuff people think they care about. Is it right? No, but that doesn't mean that we should expect it to be different.
Well, I definitely think the Clippers are coming out of the West now. That's all I'll put it.
One game turns you into that, huh?
Let me tell you, if you out there with almost your entire squad.
I think we picked the Clippers.
No, I picked the Lakers.
Andy. No, me and Andy.
Yeah. I picked the Lakers, but you got Anthony Davis and LeBron and Dwight Howard. You're only missing Rondo.
Kuzma didn't play last night,
and you got
right?
Green. No, Kuzma didn't play. You're right. But they don't got Paul George out there, and you get.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times when you add a star and it doesn't work out. So I'm not gonna say like, because that's all I saw last night was, oh my God, the Clippers are gonna add Paul George to this. What if it has a negative effect?
Yeah, but see, Paul George has a different type of game. Like if you can make it work a little bit with Russell Westbrook, then he'd be all right. Like Kawhi isn't like
it. That's fine. I'm just saying sometimes you add someone who needs shots. It doesn't work.
It might not work with Anthony Davis and LeBron James because it look a little funny out there sometimes. NFL picks this week.
I think that team is going to be fine because Danny Green is way better than people give him credit for.
His shooting and his defense
is way better. He has been the key player on championship teams on two different teams.
Spurs and Raptors.
Yeah, and Toronto.
But your boy Van Helsing, oh my God, he was balling last night.
I'll wait to see it.
You don't got him and Siakam?
For an entire season.
Him and Siakam? Bruh.
They're not winning a championship, okay?
Okay, no. And people are mad at you, said they weren't getting the playoffs.
I saw it. I don't know if I said that or not. I said they're not making it. I said they're not winning a championship.
Sucks.
Yeah, but the East, we know the East sucks.
Right. NBA, NFL picks. I will tell you this now, and
You have the schedule, or do I need to look it up again?
You got to look it up. I will tell you this, and I'm going to maintain this. I'm the worst NFL. Not even a question. I almost lost every single game that I picked on the podcast. I almost lost every single one. The only one that I won was
I think I won like $35 sports betting. It was a long weekend, and the worst part about it, I was in Tahoe. the app GPS did not work correctly. The hotel I was at was on the state line, but it's clearly in Nevada side. And even we went a little bit further into Nevada one night to go to dinner, and the app still thought I was in the state of California and would not allow me to live bet.
That's that.
So I think I lost a lot of opportunity. Like I was looking at Twitter today, and I was like, "Oh my God, because I follow a lot of people who do gambling," and I was like, "These dudes are getting these live lines in these games." So I'm a little bit upset about that. But anyways, I grinded for 2.5 days or 2 days or whatever, 2.5 days because Friday night, and end up $35 in sports. Not ideal, but it's better than losing.
The only one I won was Colts beating Texans, and
I don't remember what I picked
that was pretty much it.
because I didn't do the. I forgot to do the.
I mean, I picked the Eagles to beat my Cowboys, and we destroyed them. Like, I don't know what we're doing. I picked Patriots over Jets.
Yeah,
That was it.
I kind of had a feeling. Well, I picked the Cowboys to win, but I kind of had a feeling they were going to win. I was going to moneyline parlay Cowboys and the Ducks that night because it was the last 2 games of Sunday, and I just wanted some action. And we were going to. All right, pause. I saw you look on your face. Yes, and we were going to dinner, so I was like, you know what, this is better. And Anaheim was favored. And all the sharp money, like the pro money, was on Anaheim. They lost 2-1. The Flames were on a back-to-back. The Flames went and played LA first and got their asses kicked, and then went to Anaheim. And I'm like, oh yeah, Anaheim back-to-back. Anaheim had last night off. They're at home. The Flames are coming in off a back-to-back. Anaheim's gonna wash them. And if I would have parlayed that with the Cowboys, I'd have lost because of trash Anaheim. I got home from dinner and remembered. I was like, oh, let me check the hockey score. I'm gonna be upset if I'm glad I didn't put that bet in. Anyways.
Who playing this week?
Thursday night, Redskins, Vikings, obviously.
Vikings, I guess. I'm gonna lose, so you must pick Redskins.
I mean, Vikings are favored by 16, and they're at home.
Fam, if I pick it, they're gonna lose. So
Vikings are gonna win by 75.
They should, but I picked them. So.
Bengals at Rams.
I'm gonna go Rams, I guess.
Why are you thinking so hard about these,
bruh? I almost lost every single game last week. Every single one. I was like, you know what? I'm not playing tapes thing anymore, bro. I won 2 in that, or 3.
Cardinals at Saints. Come on, man.
Bruh, the Saints game last week was the first time I thought like they looked good. The other games, the defense looked good.
No, stop it. The Saints are they're probably by far the second best team in the league. By far.
You're right. Defense and...
Or maybe not by far, but I think they're better than the 49ers.
Oh, yeah. Because I don't trust the 49ers yet.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, they're undefeated, so...
I'm going to go...
The Saints are the second best team in the league.
I'll go Saints, but...
Come on, man.
Yo, put your money on Cardinals, B.
That team is really good. They have a guy at quarterback who's nowhere near as good as the starter, and they're dominating everyone still.
Yeah.
Including winning in Chicago, and I think they won easily in Chicago. I don't remember what the score was, but
it ended like a closer score, but it was an easy win. They got a few... Bears got a few cheap touchdowns at the end.
Bucks at Titans.
Oh, Bucks.
Broncos at Colts.
You didn't pick. You got to pick.
Oh, all right. Vikings, Rams, Saints, obviously, of those 3. I'm going to go Titans.
Oh, really?
Non-division game. They're at home. I don't know. It's probably some goofy thing that happened.
Who else? I got Bucks.
Broncos at Colts.
Colts.
Seahawks at Falcons.
Oh, Matt Ryan's out.
That team is so bad. Their offensive line is bad. I actually watched that game because I had a bet on that game. So it was like on one of the far screen TVs, and I watched the game. The
Falcons game was crazy.
Yes, it was the wrong bet. Let's put
is it Atlanta or Seattle?
Seattle at Atlanta. I'm gonna say something crazy too right now.
I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
If Matt Ryan plays, Atlanta loses.
Oh yeah,
if Schaub plays, Atlanta wins.
Here we go.
I think it's gonna be something goofy like
that.
If
Matt Ryan's out, I pick the Falcons to win. If he's in, I pick Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. As goofy as that sounds, I think that's true. Eagles at Bills. This is actually an intriguing game because the Eagles season might be going down the tubes, and the Bills are like 6-1 or 5-1 or whatever.
It's in Philly?
No, it's in Eagles
Buffalo.
at Bills.
Oh, Bills.
Bills?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with the Eagles because if they don't win this one, they're probably out. I mean,
no, it's over.
Chargers at Bears.
God, I I hate both teams. Trubisky needs to be sat down.
Yes.
And a stern talking to.
Cut.
I don't know about all that. Cut, man, come on. They were 13-4 last year. 3.
12-4.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that matters when you look this bad in your third season.
I'll go Bears. They got to win too. Packers and Vikings are running away from them. They got to win.
Hold it a second. I gotta check something real quick.
Man, what?
Oops.
I don't know what that means.
Almost made a mistake, fam. All right. I think the Chargers continue to lose. It's tough for me to say that, but I guess I'm going to go Bears. They're at home. It'll be colder
Bears.
in the season. Chargers are a warm weather team.
And trash.
And yes, they're on trash. Why are there so many 10 a.m. games this week? Good Lord. 2 1 o'clock games. Good job, NFL.
They did that the other week too. Cowboys almost had exclusive rights to 1 o'clock the other week.
Jets at Jags.
Jags
win.
I guess.
I mean, the QB's out there seeing ghosts, fam. I think it's Panthers.
He had mono, so ain't no telling what he said.
Panthers at Niners.
Panthers
over the Niners?
I think so.
Okay, I'm going to go Niners on that one.
Really? Panthers are what? 5 in a row?
Their defense is really good. The Niners, their front 4, 5, whatever.
They're really good, but they haven't played nobody, man.
Bosa's a rookie, and he leads all defensive ends in football in pressure rate, sack rate, all those statistics. Crazy.
He's really good. Racist, but really good.
All right, so that was Panthers at Niners. Browns at Patriots. You ain't picking the Browns. Don't even think about it. Patriots for me. I don't even need to think twice about that.
I hope the Patriots score 50. I hope.
So the Patriots are going to win.
Yeah, and I think Browns coach gets fired this week.
And the game of the week. This isn't the last game, by the way, but game of the week. Raiders at Texans. John Gruden's a moron. Just traded. I don't care less that he traded Conley. The fact that you traded
to the team that you play the same week is crazy.
You traded a player to the team you play this week who is a half game ahead of you in the wild card race, and this is probably like a knockout game because
psychological warfare.
I mean, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. Trading a player to a team you play that week who can give them every single call you make on the field.
When you text that, I was doing something else, but when I saw it on the little ticker on, wait, what? I was like, don't they play them?
Yes. I'm picking the Raiders because I've gotten to the point where I think the offense is like the 6th best offense in the NFL by advanced stats. The defense is awful. The defense is like 30th. But Houston's defense is bad. I mean, you think Indianapolis's run game is really good? If Jacobs plays it, Jacobs has run on everyone, and the Raiders' offensive line is really good, and Houston's secondary is bad. The Raiders had guys running free, and these are guys no one's ever heard of besides Tyrell Williams. They had players running free everywhere against Green Bay. Derek Carr made 2 bad decisions. He fumbled out of bounds at the 1-yard line, and it went into the end zone for a touchback when they had a chance to take the lead, and he threw a pick in the end zone. If those plays don't happen, the Raiders potentially win in Lambeau. Now, woulda, coulda, shoulda, obviously, but the team is better than I thought they were going to be, and I'm going to pick them this week. I'm
going to pick the Raiders. I thought the Raiders were going to beat Green Bay, but, I just hate the Texans, so that's the only reason why.
So Carr, this is like a minute before halftime or whatever. Carr fumbles. I don't know if you saw what happened. Fumbled into the end zone.
Touchback.
And then the Packers immediately went 80 yards for a touchdown.
Oh, you don't give them any type of
14-point swing. You could be up 17-14 at half. Instead, you're down 21-10, and they got the ball out of halftime and scored immediately.
They showed another game where he did that. It was the identical
same thing. Against Dallas
thing.
last year. Or 2 years ago.
It was like amazingly how identical it was.
Against Dallas.
I was like, bro, this looks like green screen.
When I
this
saw
is
it
crazy.
happen, everyone in the room that I was with thought like knee was down. I said, nah, I know it's the Raiders. That ball was through the end zone because Carr's an idiot. He did play well outside of those 2 plays. I'll give him credit.
Carr is a player that needs like extreme support, and nobody gives him that.
He still is too sketchy in the pocket sometimes when there's a complete clean pocket.
Oh yeah, he gets panicked.
But
this is like Kyler Murray.
But when he actually keeps his eyes up downfield, he normally finds someone wide open. I mean,
he's a person that like tries to get the ball out too quick, and that means like, oh God, I'm terrified. But I don't know. And Brissett, I told you. Didn't I say Colts playoffs?
We'll see.
And then I say he's good too.
We'll see.
All right.
And 2 more games. Packers at Chiefs.
Oh, Packers, I guess.
Sunday Night Football.
I guess Packers. Man, that sucks, man. Mahomes isn't playing.
And they're saying that they don't know if he's going to play until this weekend. Idiots. They better not play.
They better not play him though, because he
Long-term
gets
injuries.
messed up long term. And I hate the Chiefs.
I'm going to go Packers. I don't care if Mahomes plays or not. I hope he doesn't get re-injured because I actually like Mahomes, even though I hate the Chiefs.
like him a lot.
Dolphins at Steelers. Obviously. I mean, Dolphins ain't
I'm
winning.
going Dolphins.
Dolphins ain't winning.
Nah, they got to win sometime. They got to win a game.
They're
Steelers aren't good.
They're not winning a game this year.
They're not good. They'll win a game this year.
Steelers aren't any good, but they are off a bye, and they're at home against the worst team in the NFL, maybe the worst team of all time.
Tomlin, they won't do that to him. I was going to say, Tomlin might get fired during the game.
Yo, the Nationals are up 6-2 right now.
Oh, that's it. Oh, go ahead and get your jersey. Anyways, hats are coming. We appreciate everybody listening to the podcast. Apple, appreciate Dion, appreciate Sneaker School and everybody. That's Sneak This. Pow, 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 pow. They're going to sweep them, huh? The Nationals are going to sweep them. And then they sweep them, and I remember when the...
No. What that means is put this
they
on
beat
the show, by the way. I know you stopped that. Put this on the show. If they win the World Series, and at least if it's a sweep or 4-1 or whatever, the Dodgers should all collectively go in the locker room and shove things up each other's buttholes for losing to that whack team when they had a home game and they're up 3-0 in the home game to advance. And obviously would have won everything easily if it's this easy.
Look, that guy for CBS Sports or whoever for the Washington Post, whoever that was, who said that they're going to go all the way. We laughed. We talked about him on here. I was like, okay, settle down. All right. Like, calm down. And I was thinking they're going to go all the way before they even beat the Dodgers. But that's that. They sweep the Astros, they might be the greatest baseball team of all time.